that's a song. I won't sing for you though. Hello, hello. Oh, while we're waiting, well, you're not waiting. Well, you're waiting. Never mind. It's gonna be a doozy tonight, my friends. Hi. Hello, hello. I need to clean my glasses. So while we give the YouTubes, now I can't see a thing. While we give the YouTubes a minute to catch up with me. Hello. Clean my glasses here. Oh, golly. If you wear glasses, does it ever look like that you just like ran through a rainstorm and then just let them dry? That's what it looks like, although I did not run through a rainstorm. All right, so hello, hello, and happy, what the heck day is it? It would be Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, right? Holy Hannah. It's been a crazy, I can't even say month because, well, I guess I could say month. It's the beginning of June. Last couple days have been a little hectic, but May was, hello, crazy. It has been more than 3 weeks since we've listed, which is just really, really crazy, right? I mean, that's totally crazy. It was supposed to be 3 weeks, exactly. However, a little technical difficulty. Beyond my control, we lost our internet. Really what it was, we lost the modem. Come to find out, 5 days later, I was out of town. Lily and Denise were trying to work and started getting texts on Thursday morning. Well, you know what? Let me stop. We have lots to talk about. So let me stop and back up and say hello, friends. Hello. Welcome. Lovely to have you here. If we haven't met before, my name is Lael Kankar. I have a business called Lael by Mail. When I am not traveling, we're here usually on Saturdays, but sometimes weeknights, just depends. But we're here doing what I like to call creative listing. So I provide list topics a couple of days before, and we get together, and that's what I do. I am basically documenting, telling my story via making a list. And it is a different way, perhaps, than you have maybe ever done of documenting your story or your life. But it is, it's a pretty cool way. It is a pretty cool way to do it. We've been doing this for 5+ years. And here we are tonight on Tuesday. So lovely to have you here. If you are watching live, there is a live chat that takes place. Would love to have you pop in the chat and say hello, because hello, we haven't like talked in forever, right? So pop in the chat and say hello. I will check on the chat here in just a couple of minutes and we'll do our hellos and we'll get going. If you are not watching live, welcome to you as well. There are 5+ years as of today of these out here on my YouTube channel. So you could be watching tomorrow. You could be watching in 2028, right? Because some of you are watching now, or some of you now are watching some of the videos that we did in 2020, 2021. So really never know. But whether you're here live or whether you are watching Memorex, right? Live or Memorex, it's lovely to have you. So if you're watching the replay, I'd love it if you'd leave a comment on the video and just say hello so that I know that you are here. Anyhow, so we have some fun lists today that we will be working on, but we're just going to chat for a minute. So let me pop in the chat and say hello, and then we'll go from there. So let's see who we have. Hello, Carrie. Now, Carrie, Kyla was with me last night, right? So last night, I taught my June Traveler's Notebook setup using the Spring Summer Season Pass. We had a lot of fun with that, and I know Kyla was there. Kyla and Carrie are sisters. I know Kyla was there. Carrie, I'm not sure if you were or not. I can't remember. But hello, Carrie. Hello, Cherie. Nice to see you. You're watching 5 Grand Littles last week, and you're just catching up. Oh, my goodness, how fun. Grand Littles. That will be one day. I may have Grand Littles. We'll see. Or I should say we may have Grand Littles. We'll see. Hello, Louisa from rainy Southern California. How is the weather where you are, everyone? It is lovely here in Utah. I live in northern Utah, a suburb of Salt Lake City. It's lovely. Saturday was 96 degrees. Excuse me, Sunday, 96 degrees. Not so lovely. That is very early in the year for us. Now, we get all 4 seasons and we get hot, hot, hot in the summer. 100, low hundreds, but it's a dry heat. We don't have humidity, so it's tolerable. But early June that's a little bit too early. Today high was 70 degrees here. Now that is my kind of weather. So wherever you are, whatever weather that you're having, I hope it's good weather. And good weather is all relative, right? Some of you hate the sun, some of you love the sun. I live for the sun, so good weather here. Mimi said, happy Tuesday night. She's from the beach in California. Weather is amazingly beautiful. I love that for you, Mimi. Hello, Gerda from Texas. Gerda is in one of my photos that I'm using today. I met Gerda in person right there at a little craft fest. So that was so fun when I get to meet some of you in person. So hello, Gerda. Let's see. Deborah is from Franklin, Tennessee. She's looking forward tonight. She hasn't been able to list with us in a while. Well, neither have I, Deborah. I haven't been able to list with us for a while either, so I'm super happy to be here as well. Melissa from South Texas. So, Melissa, how far south are you? So, anytime someone says Texas, I have to have this conversation because I was born in Texas, but south, south of Corpus Christi, Kingsville. My dad was in the Navy, so that's where I was born. Hello. Hi, Paula's Crowd from Northern California. Good evening, Kathy. She is ready to roll. Hello, Amy. Hello. Amy is my trusty psychic, and she is here. You can see her if you're watching live. In the chat, you'll see that her name is highlighted in blue because she's a little admin. And as we're working, and I'm working with different products, she will be making it super easy for you to see and find those products because she's going to pop links for us in the chat. So if you're looking for something, she's very much a great enabler. I love it. Hi, Amy. Thanks for joining us. Hello, Virginia from Texas. Lots of Texans. I met some of you at Little Craft Fest, and I think we have some new fellow listers, Texans, joining us. So I love that. And Virginia, I don't know if that is you, if you're new or not, but just Texas, right? Hello, Shelly from Georgia. Gigi. Gigi is here. Hi, also from Texas. Hello. Sinfully Paper from rainy Las Vegas. Going to watching live and listening to the rain. That sounds pleasant. I love that. Flora, and I did meet Flora in person. I remember, but also met Flora in person at Little Craft Fest. So I love having you guys here. Texas is in the house. Like, you guys are representing. I love it. Hello, Heather. Hello, Carol from Central Canada. Hi, Gabby. Kathy. Hello, Ms. L. Misty. Hello, Heather. I missed you guys too. It's crazy. I mean, it feels like it's been 3 weeks. It's been a long time, right? I don't like that. I don't like it when it's that long. So that's why when Saturday didn't work out, I'll tell you why in a minute if you missed that. I'm like, well, we're going to do Tuesday night instead. So here we are. Hello, Kyla. There we go. Kyla, I saw last night. Hi, Kyla. Nice to see you. Well, saw here. Hello, Carla from Arkansas. You guys are making my brain work tonight. Sometimes when I read your names and then I have to kind of remember whose name is what. Hello, Janine. Wanda loves the chat. I like the chat too, Wanda. It sure is fun. Wanda, you were with us last night too, right? I don't know. All the things start to mix together. Hello, Lisa from Texas. Lisa with an E. Mimi, you are so nice. Mimi said you look so nice today. Thank you, Mimi. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Getting a little bit of sun and then also a little bit of self-tanner mixed in. I'm one of those people that, I don't know, fat looks better tan, right? Anyhow, so you can get a little bit of sun for the vitamin D and then try to mix in a little self-tanner and then a little makeup, yeah. But thank you. Hello, Deborah from rainy Minnesota. Lori from Burlington, Ontario. Lori, I've been to Burlington because my dear friend Vicki Booten used to live in Burlington or close to Burlington. But anyhow, I've been in that area. In fact, I think there used to be a scrapbook store in Burlington, maybe, that I taught at? Oh, I don't know. Long time ago. But hello. Hi, Lynn Mills from Florida. You've been watching since the very beginning. It's been a fun ride. It has been a fun ride. It's been a while, huh? So I love it. I love when people are new joining us, and I also love those of you that have been with me for a really long time. So thank you. Debbie Haynes from Sydney, Australia. Debbie, this is perfect for you. It's perfect for Southerners. And when I say Southerners, I mean like Southern Hemisphere. Australia, New Zealand. That's usually, sometimes we have a couple in South Africa, but normally Saturdays mornings don't work as well for you guys because that's like middle of the night. So I love it when you guys can join us on an evening because it's morning for you. Debbie. Paige, hello. She's mislisting. Me too. Hi, Joe. Nice to see you. Misty in San Diego. Hot where Melissa is in Texas. Nancy, thank you. You are very kind. Nancy said you look great, Lyle. Thank you. I'm working on me. Trying, right? Always trying. We'll get there. One of these days. When I get really old, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm exactly where I want to be. Heather is saying hello from Gilbert, Arizona. Just starting to hit triple digits. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're in for one. You and my friend Amy. Amy is also in Gilbert. Let's see. Hi, Susan in Atlanta. Hello, Cherie. Beth Moses Bettys is here from Houston. Look at all my Texas peeps. I am so impressed. Yay! Hello, Karen. Karen, Colorado. Karen. She's been crafty for a week now. You have nearly 3 inserts. Karen, I love that for you. You've just been going to town. That is so fun. I love it. Melissa, about an hour south of Kingsville. Oh my gosh. Melissa, that's about as far. Did we have this conversation in person? I want to say I think we did. I think I remember meeting someone at Little Craft Fest that was, I'm like, further south than Kingsville. Yes, I think that was you. Sometimes it takes a minute, so excuse me. Hi, Kelly. Ashley from East Tennessee. Let's see. Ashley, thank you for the reminder. Thumbs up. That's always super helpful, friends. If you're here, thumbs up. Joanne from Waterloo. And really, if you're not here, I didn't really need to say that because you didn't hear me, right? Yeah. Beth met me there also. It started your addiction. Now you're here to learn. Oh, that makes me so happy to hear. You have no idea. I just, I'm very passionate about what we do. This type of documenting, memory keeping, storytelling, journaling, planning, whatever you want to call it, but I'm very passionate about it, and I love it when we bring new people into the fold, just because I think it's important. I think it is important to tell your story, and we do it in a really fun way. Karen, your hometown is having evacuations from flooding. Oh goodness, that's no good. I'm sorry to hear that. Gabby, it's fun to switch it up a little bit with a weeknight session. I agree. Wendy has the live with sound on her TV and watching the chat on her phone from Northeast Ohio. Wendy, I will tell you, you are not the only one that has multiple devices going. I know that. You guys tell me that. I love it. Although sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be on the big TV. I mean, I've done TV. I've done lots of things like that. It doesn't bother me at all. Really, it's the thought of this on a big TV. Then you're like, oh my gosh, look at the pores. Yeah. Just put me on a little tiny screen. I look better that way. Gigi brought so many products at Craft Fest, then brought a friend and of course bought more. You know what? That is like the best thing that we can do for our friends is introducing them to things that make us happy and fill our cup and give us a lot of pleasure and satisfaction, right? As long as they're not, well, there's a lot of things you probably shouldn't do that with, but things like this, I think it's great to share new discoveries with. So I love that when you guys share with your friends. So thank you, Gigi, for doing that. I appreciate it. And of course, I appreciate you shopping too. Kathy is coming here from Minnesota. She's visiting family. Shelley Walton just returned from a 30-day Royal Caribbean cruise to Greece. She took a traveler's notebook insert, pens, colored pencils, and purchased stickers along the way. It was great memory keeping. Shelley, did you do my Document Your Travels e-course? That was like such a, for me, it was when Nick and I did our trip to Ireland and Scotland a couple of years ago. That's what I took. I took a traveler's notebook insert and a pen. Along the way, I bought a little thing of colored pencils and found stickers wherever I could and did that kind of documenting while we were on the road. And that's all I did. Didn't worry about where photos were going to go or anything. That to me, that was the first time I'd ever done that. That was like such a game changer because I came home with everything documented. And then if it took me a year later or 2 years later to really document that trip and add all the photos and things, I had it all, I'd already done, right? I had all of the memories, everything written down. So I wasn't racking my brain going, oh my gosh, I didn't forget all the details because I'd written all the details down. In fact, I did that again. You guys, it's going to be a squirrel night, so bear with me. I just did that again. Nick and I last month celebrated our 30th anniversary. So that is wedding anniversary. So that's part of the reason why I was not here for a bit. Anyhow, I took this guy with me. That is the new Document Your Travels Traveler's Notebook insert. And I did this. So I got it ready. Still have some things to do here. The packing list, the things I needed to do, because it's still part of the memories, right? All of this I still need to do about the things that I wanted to get done or see and do. But then this is what I did, all right? Every day, so before we left, I did all my pre-stamping. I took colored pencils with me and this book, and I just wrote every night. What did we do? All the little details, and then my top 3 things for the day. And I did that every day. So for that trip, that is documented, right? No, I haven't edited photos. I haven't done a lot of things yet, but I have all of those memories here. And this in and of itself is now part of like a scrapbook, right? Or part of my my documenting, because it's still cute. It's pretty, right? But it doesn't have all the photos and things that I want to add. But this is will be part of my whole kind of memory keeping process for that trip. So the key there is getting all the stamping and decorating you want to do ahead of time, and then working on it every day while you're gone. 15 minutes. You just got to commit to 15 minutes, and then when you come home, you have that, and then go from there. So that's a total tangent. But anyhow, because it was kind of on my mind, and then obviously it was on Shelly's also. So I love that you did that, Shelly. Nancy, greetings from NYS. New York State, maybe. Cherie said thunderstorms in Southern California. You guys need the rain always, right? Always, always, always. And we're doing a little bit more chat tonight than we probably normally would, just because I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a while. And if we were all together in person, this is what we would be doing. We'd be catching up, we'd be chatting, you guys would be talking to each other like you are in the chat, and then I'd be talking to you, you'd be talking to me, so that's what we're gonna do for just a couple more minutes. So I can say hello. Virginia said she has been watching but not commenting much. Looking forward to meeting me in Conroe in October. Yes, I'll be back in Texas in October for an event. But Virginia, I'm proud of you. I love that you're just kind of popping in and maybe just saying hi a little bit more in the chat, because chat's a fun place to be. Wanda, yep, last night. Kathy, so last night was the June Traveler's Notebook setup class for the people that purchased the spring summer season pass. Let's see. Gabby said, OMG, I love tanning because it makes my legs look slimmer. I just am a firm believer in the tan fat looks better than white fat. Right? Whatever it takes. Let's see. Joanne, Forever Scrapbooks in Burlington, long gone. Was that Virginia? Was that Virginia's store? I can't remember. Let's see. Melissa's from Harlingen. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Hi, Tabitha. Nice to see you. Pearl Ann from Georgia. Pearl Ann, I love your name. Pearl Ann. That reminds me of, Pearl Ann reminds me of Carol Ann. And Carol Ann is from Poltergeist. When the mom's saying, Carol Ann, when she's like getting sucked into the TV, I think. Pearl Ann. But not in a bad way. Pearl Ann in a good way. Let's see. Karen is excited to catch a live. Karen is new to Traveler's Notebooks. Well, I am glad that you caught the live too, Karen, because we won't talk a lot about Traveler's Notebooks tonight, but we will be using a Traveler's Notebook. That is what I use to document or to do all my listing. But there is, if any of you are new to Traveler's Notebook, there is a free class either on my website or here on YouTube that kind of gives you a full-blown kind of intro to Traveler's Notebooks 101. That's a really good one to check out. Hello, Jennifer from Arizona. Karen said, I've been a lister and journal notebook lover my whole life, so glad to find out it is a thing. Karen, you and me both. I've made lists my entire life and have loved notebooks, stationery store. I mean, throw me in a 7-Eleven and I'm even like looking in the aisles to look at their little school section. I just kind of am addicted. I think a lot of us are. Flora, was that you that did something in the Facebook group today with the giant squirrel? Flora just left a comment in the chat that said, on my micro adventure, I remembered to grab brochures. So we did a list a couple weeks back about micro adventures. So basically traveling in your own area. I mean, it could be like in your own city. It could be in your own neighborhood. If there are little micro adventures, little things that you've had on your list of wanting to do, but have never done, we can all travel. We don't have to go far, get on an airplane. We can travel a block away and go visit that little store that we've driven by 100 times and always wanted to go in. That could be a micro adventure, right? So, and I love that you remembered, Flora, to pick up your little brochures and things when you're doing your micro adventures, because it's kind of a fun way to add memorabilia and stuff into your projects. Thank you, Deborah. Congrats on 30 in Mizell. Yes, it's been a whirlwind 30, and I will tell you 100% the truth. In my opinion, for us, it just keeps getting better. And it's not, I know it's not that way for everyone, and I feel so very fortunate to have a man like Nick in my life. He is, oh my gosh, he takes care of me like you can't even believe. I just lucked out. I drew the lottery when it came to husbands. So, yeah, things are awesome. Love it, love it, love it. All right, friends. So, literally we could just sit here and I could like chat away the whole night. Now, I will chat away the whole night because that's what I do. But some of you are like, all right, let's get moving, Lael. We're here because we want to do some lists. So, if I missed you, hello Nancy, hello Shannon. You guys, I'm like way behind in the chat. Joe, there is an event that I'm teaching at in Conroe. It's not Little Craft Fest. It is called Crafting for the Holidays. Vicki Booten, Paige Evans, and I are teaching big event that weekend. I think about 225 people. Little Craft Fest. If you missed it this year, it was in April in Conroe, or suburb of Houston, Texas. They are doing it again next year in 2026. So you'll hear me talk about that more as it gets closer. But that was a pretty amazing thing. Let's see. Question both Lael and the group. How do you all blend in the photos when you get home? Do you make a separate album, tip them in, include them in some other way in the Traveler's Notebook cover? Jill, those are excellent ideas or questions. I've done it a whole bunch of different ways. I've done mini book, I've done a Traveler's Notebook, I've done tip-ins, and I generally don't do tip-ins in that piece that I showed you. That's just kind of just taking the notes while I'm gone. But that e-course that is on my website, that is, I think, about 5 hours? I can't remember. It's 5 hours or 12 hours of content, probably 5. Maybe broken up into 12 different videos, but where I talk about the whole process, and then I show you lots of ways to then incorporate all the memorabilia and photos that you gather and take on the trip. But anyone else that does, because I know a lot of you do that same kind of documenting from your trips. If you were here live, feel free to pop up in the chat and answer Jill from your perspective. Hi, Kristen, nice to see you. Karen has an aunt named Pearl Ann. I love that. Hi, Zen girls, Denver in the house. Hello, Deborah, lovely to see you. Happy belated birthday. Words to live by. Oh, family sayings. I can do anything but not everything. So, I love that idea, Deborah. We've done kind of a couple different versions of that in the past. We did a list called Familyisms, and I've done a Dadisms and a Momisms and a Laelisms. So where we're just basically, our things that our family says. But I love that words to live by too. That would be a really fun twist. All right, guys. All right. I'm going to try to do. Flora with the giant squirrel. I love that you shared that in the Facebook group. That was so fun. Let's see. Jolene, congratulations on 30 years. Pull in my phone. Okay, Cherie, I'm not sure. I only saw part of that. So maybe, am I not loud enough? So, Cherie, whatever you said there, I missed the first part of your comment. Will you pop that in again for me so I can see it? Because I'm way behind. Lisa Carpenter Soares. Hi, Lael, I'm new to listing, but I do Project Life. How often do I release stamps? Every other month. Right now we are on an every other month basis, and it is always mid-month unless there's something special going on. So for the example, for the month of May, we did it at the beginning of May because it was celebrating International Scrapbook Day. So the next release will be mid-July, and then mid-September, and then mid-November, and mid-January. So right now we are on about an every other month release. I will tell you, we have stamps planned out for at least the next year. So at some point, I don't necessarily want to go to every month, but at some point we're going to have way more stamps than we can. So we'll see. But right now it is every other month. All right, friends. All right. Hello, Terry. Nice to see you. Terry. I think it's okay to, I hope Bob's okay. How about that? I will just say that, and if you want to share any more, then you can pop that in the chat. All right, friends, let's do this. And Susan, thanks again for the reminder for the thumbs up. I think we are ready to, if I missed anything, please just tell me. And don't tell me. Go ahead. Once I rotate the camera, it makes it much easier for me to see the chat. Because here I'm trying to talk with my eyes. And then if I look over here, then I feel bad that I'm not like looking at you. Like, that's a very big thing for me is when I speak to people, I like to make sure we have eye contact. So I don't like to keep doing that. If I missed your comment when I flip the camera, please go ahead and type it again in the chat. And if you put it in uppercase, then I usually see it. Karen, like I just saw hers. Did you get my message about the... Karen, I do not recall, so I'm going to say no. If you will email me, then I will watch for it. Did I plug in my phone? Jolene, as soon as we rotate, I will plug in. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, so we lost our internet. Our internet was out for 5 days. Was it really the internet? Come to find out, it was really the modem. So long story short, I was by myself this weekend. Nick was off gallivanting around the world with, no, he was in Alaska sea fishing with customers. So I really truly felt like I was so alone. And it's sad to think that we rely on the internet that much, but doorbell didn't work. Our Ring camera didn't work. The stereo system in our house didn't work. Couldn't stream anything on the TV. My Peloton didn't work because that's all through the internet. I wanted to get on my scale that does body composition and things like that. Couldn't do that because internet didn't work. When I could, I was hotspotting from my phone, but 5 days worth of hotspotting on your phone is a lot. So it just felt really weird in like this weird world. So finally, technician comes yesterday. He was supposed to be here between 8 and 5, and then they told me 10 and 2. And of course he got here at 4:30, and I was in a total panic because I had a class last night at 6. Anyhow, as soon as he got it fixed, I felt like a new woman. I was so happy. So one of these days, I'll probably do a list. Things that we rely on for the internet that we didn't really realize that we rely on until it's gone. So very happy to be with you guys tonight. That's why we had to reschedule from Saturday because if you caught me even for 30 seconds, which was about how long I could be here, because you just can't stream over cellular data, at least where we live. There's just not strong enough, not enough coverage or cell service or bandwidth. I guess it's bandwidth. So anyhow, that's why we're here Tuesday night. So we are here Tuesday night. Me, Reggie's in his little bucket over here on my little work surface, and I think we're ready to go. So let's do this. Let me rotate, move the lights in, and then we will get going. Okay? We will see, friends, how long we last. This little turd right there. Let me just see if you can see him. Do you see him right there in his bucket? That's Reggie. That little turd in his bucket, he missed me. I was gone 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks of the month, I was home for 1 day in between. And that little turd really missed me. And he is now taken to getting me up twice in the middle of the night. It's like I have a newborn baby. And he just stares at me when he wakes me up. And then I take him into the pantry to eat. He doesn't want to eat. And then I can't go back to sleep. So that one, the first one happened at 3:30 this morning. And so it has been like, I'm not even sure how I'm like functioning at this point. So, but it'll be good. We'll have fun. Just know if you haven't joined me for an evening session like this, after a while I tend to get a little punchy. So just know that is what's going to happen. And you're like, what do you mean you get punchy? You're always punchy, Lael. And I say, well, yeah, but that's why you love me, right? That's why you love me. All right, let's take a quick little hydration break before we get going. Colleen, thank you. I plugged in. Once I saw that you reminded me, I plugged in. So we are good. Okay, let's see. He's like it's like having a newborn, crazy. And you know what? You would say, well, why don't you lock him out? Well, he's smart and he does this on the door. And the last time I did that, he was on his hind legs and he was doing this with his paws, trying to get the door handle open. He is smart. He watches us. He knows what he's doing. So I know I need to like lock him in the laundry room, but then I'll still hear him. And then it'll be like a newborn that you ignore when they cry, right? Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So when we were together last, like 1,012 days ago, that's what it feels like. We did 3 lists. We did places I'd travel again. And this one was using my brand new postcards and passports collection, which I will be using again today. So postcards and passports. You guys, thank you so much. That collection is just doing so well. It is so fun. It's so fun to have kind of my real first scrapbook or paper crafting collection out there in the world. And it has been very well received. So thank you for that. I love that. So places I travel again, right? What we talk about when we do our list. Maybe you're not a big traveler. Maybe you have a travel bucket list. So if you haven't done a lot of traveling, it would be really easy to take a list topic like this and just rotate it maybe 30 degrees. So instead of places I'd travel again, maybe this is places I'd like to travel, right? So pretty much any type of list that we do, you can just kind of tweak it a little bit to make it work for you. I never want anyone to feel like they can't participate in something that we do because the topic doesn't apply to them. So just did photos over here and my little list over here. Some of the places I'd like to travel again are places I have traveled again and will continue to travel again. These first two were places that I traveled last month in in May. Don't even know where. I think I saw that and thought August. Priest Lake, Idaho, which is northern Idaho, about 20 miles from the Canadian border, and then Oregon coast. All right, so that was our first list. We did a list that we do pretty much every month called In the News. In the News, where I make a list of just some of the news events that hit my radar. When we do a list like that, I give no commentary. So like this, I'm like, oh, that is Roy McIlroy. He won the Masters. And then, you know what? I don't say anything else about that because this, for most of us, is not controversial, but there are other things in the news that can be controversial. And I never want this to be a place where you don't want to be because it's controversial, right? So in the news, my photo for In the News for April was just him. And then when you lift up that little kind of dog door, I call that a dog door because it hinges from the top, opens from the bottom. Then I have my list of other news events for the month. All right. And then our third list was routine. So I made a list about one of my daily routines. This happens to be a new routine that I started in May. Really trying to be a little bit more productive in my morning hours because I tend to, in the morning, sometimes want to get on my phone the second I wake up, and then that always sends me down a path I'm not necessarily ready to go in for the day. I might get on my phone and do some doom scrolling, or I might waste some time on playing a game while I am drinking my coffee, and it's just not a really good use of my time. I always feel like I'm so busy, but then I start looking at it going, you know what? Probably a couple hours in the morning that I might be able to snag to do some other things. So that one was just talking about a routine. Now, your routine could be very different than mine. I'm an empty nester. Nick and I are empty nesters, so no kids at home. I own my own business, right? So I can pretty much call my own shots and work when I want-ish, right? There's a lot of work, but work when I want. So my routine could be very different than yours. My routine now is very different than maybe when I was in college. My routine is very different now than when I was a brand new mom, right? Definitely changes in your routines throughout your life. So this is one of those lists that becomes a little bit of a time capsule in that it is a list that if you do a list about your routine or routines every so often, it really gives kind of a really good snapshot of your stage of life or kind of where you are. All right, so those were the three lists that we did. Okay, Carol, I love it. I just saw Carol's comment. She said, I love the postcards and passports collection. Hoping to do a list with it tonight. Well, Carol, I am doing a list with it tonight. And it's going to be our first list. So our first list tonight is a list that we have been doing for the last, oh my gosh, in August, it'll be 5 years. And it is called About Last Month. About Last Month. So when I first started doing this list, it was early in the pandemic. It was August of 2020. And I was trying to think we had just started kind of doing our creative listing. And I was kind of trying to come up with some different list topics that I thought might be fun. And I stumbled upon this idea that I called About Last Month. So basically, when we do an About Last Month list, I am making a list of things that happened during that month. I am doing a little stamping, I am adding photos, and then doing a little bit of decorating. So I can say with 100% surety that I am caught up on all of my memory keeping. And the reason I can say that is that I have done at least this every year in August for the last 5 years, every month. So we'll be almost 60 of these. In August, I'll have 60 of these. So that's not to say this is the only way that I do my memory keeping, but this is a way where I can say that I am caught up. It's easy, it's guilt-free. I pretty much go with the same format as a new year rolls around because I introduce a brand new stamp set for that. So that was March. Let's take a look at somewhere in here. April, right? So as you can see that, the types of photos that I do may vary. The layout of the photos may vary. So this one had 1, 2, 3, 4 photos, right? Whereas this one had, I don't know how many it had, and this one is going to have 10 photos. So all just depends on maybe how many photos I have for the month or the things I want to focus on. That's Post Malone. He's my boyfriend. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. He's not, well, clearly, he's not my boyfriend. I think that man is so talented, and I just love him. So we had the opportunity to see him in concert last month. So he deserved a big old square there in my About Last Month. Okay, so I need to grab my About Last Month stamp set. So I did not grab that out. So I'm going to turn my back to you for a moment, and I'm going to look for that here in my little stamp drawer behind me. So I got other stamps out that I wanted to use. That's 2024. That was 2023. Okay, 2025. Where are you? Oh, here we go. All right. That is one that, oh my gosh, we have I think we've got 4 years, 2022, 23, 20, yeah, this is our 4th year of having an About Last Month stamp set. But where would be, let me look. This is one that I use for photography. It has not been used. Oh, here we go. I'd rather not use. There we are. So I have my stamp set. I have pre-printed my photos. So this is one 5x7 photo, and it is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I said 10 before. 9 individual photos. That is a 5x7 print. All right. I use the Epson PictureMate PM400 printer. That is a little printer that's a workhorse. It is a little, about this big by this big, maybe about 6 by 9 by 3, I'd say. But it prints 3 different sizes, 3.5 by 5, 4 by 6, and 5 by 7. The power of that printer, though, really comes into play with an app that goes with it. And that app is called the Epson Creative Print. The Epson Creative Print does a lot of different things. It's a free app, does a ton of different things, but what I use it most for is this. There are pre-configured templates in that app. So you can pick from a lot of different pre-configured templates, and you pick which template you want, right? So this would have a place for 4 down and 3 across, so 12 photos. And then you just put the photos in each of those little squares on the template. So lots of different possibilities of kind of doing your little photos like this. So when I do something like this, sometimes I keep this whole, and you might be wondering why I have those spaces there. That's because I want to do a little bit of decorating right there. So sometimes I leave blank spaces, but sometimes I will even do something like this, where that was a 5x7, and that I cut in half. So I have kind of 2 little like photo booth strips. If you have that printer and you are not intimately familiar with that app, there is a free class here also on my YouTube channel or on my website where I take you through all the ins and outs of that app and some really cool things you can do with that app and some Really easy workflow that will make your life so much easier when it comes to finding your photos and picking your photos and things like that. All right, so I have my photos all ready to go. The first thing I do as I'm getting ready, I need to trim the width of this. Just a tad. That is, as I said, a 5x7 photo. This is a traveler's notebook insert. This traveler's notebook insert is standard wide. So standard is, standard and standard wide are the same height. They're both 8.25. But the difference between a standard and a standard wide, obviously, is in the width. Standard wide, 5 inches wide, whereas your standard is about 4.33. So when you are working on a page, 3/4 of an inch makes a big difference in the width, right? When you are working on a spread, that gives you another 1.5 inches. So all of my traveler's notebook inserts that I manufacture are this standard wide. So 5 inches, 5 inches. You might say, why do you need to trim that? Well, we lose a few millimeters in the center from the binding, especially the stapling. Especially the deeper we get in our insert, we kind of start to lose a few more millimeters just because you have kind of all of this space. It's harder to get in there. I need to trim this, and usually what I'll do is I'll just come in and trim lots of things there. Just a tad off of either side. Amy has, thank you, Amy, dropped all those free classes in there. She's in the chat. She has dropped in the About Last Month stamp set, a link to that. Paula Crafts, will I be bringing back the 2024 About Last Month stamp? Yes. I have not had a chance to, my team has done all the inventory from Little Craft Fest because we sent stamps and then some obviously came back that we brought back with us if they didn't sell. So I need to now take all of the inventory they did and now go into my website and take a look at what needs to be reordered. So yes, you will see there are a number of stamps, I believe, that are sold out right now. I will be bringing those back in. So those will probably take, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks or so to come back in. So stay tuned for those. Colleen said Post Malone was just in Toronto last week in concert with Jelly Roll. Yes, we saw him here in Salt Lake. He kicked off his big ASS stadium tour here in Utah because Post Malone lives in Utah. So we did see him, Colleen, with Jelly Roll, and then I know Vicky saw them too in Toronto. It looked like an amazing concert. Very good concert. All right. Carrie said she had some fun things happen during the month of May. Granddaughter turned 2, and your grandson was born. I love that. I love it. Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you. Okay. All right. So this guy is ready to go. Ooh, I need a new blade there. That's a little bit, yeah, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. A little bit shreddy. All right, let's grab our tape runner. And this guy is just going to get in here to the right side. Ooh, actually, are we good with that? We are good with that. So, normally I am doing kind of my stamping and writing on the left side and photo on the right side for my About Last Months. But I had to think about that for a minute. I always encourage you before you start working on something new in your Traveler's Notebook to see what you did in the past. What I mean by that, I quickly turned the page and I said, oh yes, I'm okay. The reason I looked is on my About Last Month, I will do stamping here directly on the insert. And I want to make sure that what I'm about to do here isn't going to ruin anything or alter anything that I did here. Now, because I did not do my list directly on the insert here, I'm okay. Sometimes you will see a little bit of shadowing or ghosting from one side of the page to the next. So always a good idea before you start stamping or before you kind of start anything, check to see what you did before. If I wanted to stamp here and I had done stamping here directly on the insert, maybe I would just skip a page and do my list here and then come back and do something here. All right. Louisa, how fun. Where did you go? Louisa took a 2-week vacation to celebrate daughter's graduation. I love that. Where'd you go? All right. I know when your kids start to graduate or your grandkids or whatever it is, you're like, ooh, we better get those trips in with them because they're going to go out and live their life. And it may be a while before we, can do a trip like that with them again. This is funny. I am here. I kept doing this, trying to get that little speck off. That is not a speck on the photo. That's Oregon coast. I think that one's Proposal Rock. But do you see there's that little tiny like gap in the rock. So it's all like a little arch almost. Anyhow, I can't get that off, Lil. Colleen, yes, thank you. Colleen said a tip, if you have any kind of trimmer like this that has a little blade that normally you replace, this works the same any of your punches. Colleen is suggesting if you put a piece of tinfoil here and then cut a couple times, that will help to sharpen the blade. Same thing with your punches. If you punch through tinfoil, it'll kind of help to sharpen that little metal. Thank you, Colleen. London, Disneyland, Paris, and Paris. Oh, how fun. Carol did a 10-day tour in the Netherlands with her mom and daughter in May. Oh, I love it. Love that you have been exploring. That is so fun. All right. So here we go. Before I kind of pick my ink, because I will stamp, right? About last month here, I will stamp. But before I pick my ink, I like to figure out what embellishments I'm planning to use first, because in a lot of cases, it's the embellishments I'm using that will help drive whatever ink I'm going to use here. The embellishments in the photos. So a combination of the colors in the embellishments and the colors in the photos. So I pulled some die cuts out from my postcards and passport collections, just things that I thought kind of might work with what I am doing. So let's just kind of start playing here a little bit. Actually, we've got this long space here, so we could do maybe this. Always take the scenic route. If my friends in Australia are in the house, they are chuckling at that. I taught years ago when I worked for Scenic Route. I traveled to Sydney and to Brisbane and taught at a scrapbook event in Brisbane. And when I was introducing myself at the start of the class, I said, "Hi, I'm Leah. I work for a company called Scenic Route." And the entire class are laughing. And I'm like, what? Like, do I have like toilet paper in my shoe, or why is everybody laughing at me? I asked them. And they're like, well, you just said a word. And I'm like, what did I say? That company that you're from. And I'm like, Scenic Route. And they're like, ah. And they started laughing at me again. And I'm like, okay, you guys give. What? I don't understand. And they're like, well, in our country, we don't say route. We usually say route. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of tomato in my country. And they're like, well, route means something different here. And I'm like, what do you mean? What does it mean? And they're like, oh, well, it means kind of getting down and dirty. You know what I mean? They're like, that's what that means. So it was kind of funny. I'm like, oh gosh, I got to be careful, I guess, if I say route or route, depending on where I am in the world. So you decide. Always take the scenic route or always take the scenic route. Oh, that could go all kinds of ways. I better stop that. All right, so I'm just kind of making a little cluster here, right? I've got a little suitcase. My suitcase isn't pink, but it could be. A little sign. I think we could maybe do some little mountains here. Maybe a little airplane might be fun. This, the icons and the color palette in this collection really are not specific to any particular kind of travel, right? It could be city travel, it could be country travel, it could be beach, it could really be, anywhere. All right, let's see what else. I feel like we need this little tree here. I've got lots of trees in my pictures here. Little mountain, a little tree here maybe. So I'm just gonna make it a little cluster, the good kind of cluster, not the bad kind of cluster, with my little pieces there. All right, I think that's a good start. So as you are working with lots of different die cuts, if you are trying to kind of make little clusters, one of the things that I find that can be a little frustrating is when you get everything placed where you want it, then you're like, okay, great. Now what? Now what do I do? I have everything placed the way I want it, and I'll add a couple more things in. But now I have got to like take all the pieces off and then try to get everything in the same area where I want them again, and it never looks the same, right? So one thing that you can do, a little tool that you can use, or a little product that you can use, is called highlighter tape. All right, highlighter tape. Amy introduced me to this tape. It is a removable, repositionable tape that is meant to be used for like highlighting, maybe highlighting a textbook or something that you're reading. And it works really well for doing something like that because it is removable and repositionable. It works really well for something like this because it is removable and repositionable. So what I can do is I can take some of this tape and I can put it over like those three guys right there. I have now turned those three die cuts into one piece. Hi! Nick's been fishing all day and just came in with one of his, oh my gosh, how long have you guys known each other?
I think in second or third grade.
Second or third grade.
55.
40 some odd years anyhow. So I just looked up and they're both standing there watching me. In fact, Sam, our younger son, you guys know Sam, works for Mike, which is fun. All right, so I'm taking this tape and I have now put three pieces down. So as I was putting that tape down, I was trying to make sure that I have picked up at least every one of those die cuts in that tape. So now, as I go to pull this off, I have taken my single, that little guy's, I'm going to have to put him on separately maybe. I have taken that single, taken all of those separate die cuts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and turned them into one piece. And that's exactly, minus the moving of the airplane, that's exactly where I wanted them. Much easier to work with that way than trying to pick them up or sometimes take a photo. Now, I can't take a photo of that, of how they were laid out because I'm using my phone to film. But that just, I find, is such an easy way to make sure that after you spend all that time getting your little cluster in kind of exactly where you want it, then to not have to go back to the drawing board. All right. Get it all the right place or where you wanted it. Okay, so we're a little bit crooked down here. Let me see here. Oh, there we go. It was my suitcase that I wanted to be crooked. All right, there we go. Now, I'm not quite going to press down here yet, and I want to leave all that tape on because I wanted to do a little bit, kind of 2 little rows of washi here. So this is the washi tape from Postcards and Passports. There are 2 rolls, so they come in a package of 2. One is your standard width, 15 millimeters, so it's kind of your standard washi width. And then the second roll is 10. So those stack and layer really well together. So we're going to put this guy down right here. And it's all those really fun icons that you find in the Postcards and Passports collection. So let's just do this. Really what I should have done, I should have put this down before, but I forgot that I wanted to use it. So we'll just lift this back up again. I didn't press down, so it's still kind of removable, repositionable. All right, there we go. I'm going to break that little seal right there. Okay, and then I would like to add my second little layer here. Oh, Amy, are both sold out? We have there's a blue and a red on the highlighter tape. I mean, not a red, there's a blue and a pink. Yeah, I need to look to see what needs to be reordered. It's been a crazy, well, really starting at the end of, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Really starting mid-March with the, with my anniversary sale, our anniversary celebration and the launch of the new Traveler's Notebooks and the new inserts, and then moving into Little Craft Fest, and then moving into National Scrapbook Day, and then the launch of postcards and passports. It's all just, it's been craziness, friends. It's a good crazy, but it's a crazy that is all brought on by me, which is good, right? But lots of stuff happen in the Lail by Mail world. I will tell you, you will see it on my list. Well, you won't see it, but I'll write it on my list. One of the big things that has been taking place this month is we are wrapping up the design right now of another new collection, and it is Christmas collection, which, where'd my scissors go? Oh, my scissors are in the other room. Brand new Christmas collection that you will see hit in August sometime. But we're wrapping up the final designs of that today. Well, really today, but now it's going to bleed a little bit into tomorrow. Papers, there's I think 16 double-sided papers, 4 different die cut packs, there's washi, there's so many fun things. But it is what I will be using this year for my annual December Documented. So I can't even tell you how excited I am that that project this year will be using my own Christmas collection. So very excited about that. All right, now I just need to come in and lift that highlighter tape back up. And my little pieces are good. They're right where I need them to be. Lots of chit-chatting tonight. Okay, pull that up. The nice thing about, now there's other things you can use, right? If you've done something like this before, you can use washi. Problem with washi is sometimes, depending on the washi, also sometimes depending on the material that you're putting it on, especially if you have maybe die cuts that are a little bit thin. Sometimes the washi will pull part of the print up on whatever you're trying to, remove it from. So you don't have that with the with that highlighter tape because it is meant for like highlighting in textbooks. All right, so let me just, I think we'll put this little guy right there. That little, I'm just coming back in and filling in a little bit of the white space. Cute little star there. Louisa, yes, doing it with my, doing the December Documented this year with my own collection, which that's crazy. This will be, I can't remember if it's the 18th or 19th year I've done that project. And this will be, I believe, the 11th year that I have done a kit, the project kit. So very excited about that. It has been a long haul, my friends. Some of you only know me from the last, 5 years from the pandemic and, doing all of this. But I have been in this industry in one way or another. Oh my gosh, 28 years. So starting out as a scrapbooker, right? Worked on different design teams, worked for a couple of different manufacturers over the years, Scenic Route, Basic Gray, and then Simple Stories for 6 years, and then went out on my own 6 years ago to really focus on turning my side hustle into a full-time thing. So sometimes this is just one of those kind of reminders. Sometimes you see people and think, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at what they've done in such a short time. You don't sometimes know the whole history behind it, right? Hello, Gracie Creates. Nice to see you. Let me see. Press and seal. So Carol, yes, I know some people use press and seal for that same kind of thing. I've never tried it, but from what I understand, that it can work. Thank you, Louise. I appreciate it. All right. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything there. And there's lots of people here to answer if I missed something. Wait, how exciting, Liz Keel. What are we seeing about Liz Keel? Preparing to go to Spain for 16 days and 2 weeks. Oh, Liz, that'll be amazing. Have not been to Spain. Been lots of places, but not Spain yet. Right? Not Spain yet. One of these days. I have a long bucket list of places that I will travel in my life. I'm not going to say I'd like to. I'm saying I will. Travel is something that is very important to me. And luckily I married a person that feels the same way. I've traveled my whole life. When I taught a Document Your Travels class at Little Craft Fest. And one of the very first slides that I put up was a photo of myself at the age of 4. It was a passport photo. It was my actual passport photo when I was 4 years old. I started traveling when I was 4. Well, even before that, my dad was in the Navy, but he got stationed in Japan. So I had to have passport when we moved to Japan. So whole life, I love it. It like feeds my soul, and I live for it. And so that's why my first collection, postcards and passport, travel. All right, so here we go. I have a lot of colors now, right? So I had said I need to wait to do my stamping until I have a really good feel for the color that I am using here. I pretty much used all the colors, so I'm not limited, right? These are the colors that I swatched that coordinate with the postcards and passports collection. So this same photo, there's a blog post with this if you are looking to know which colors coordinate. These are distress oxides, distress inks also, same color. And then every product on the website, every postcards and passports product on the website also has this image. So if you're looking at one of the products and you're like, ooh, I like to use distress inks like I do, what colors coordinate? These are the colors that coordinate. So I don't have to pull out my swatch book, right? Because I have them all here. So as I look at what I want to do, I have this little guy. We know, well, I know. I use this little one that says about last month. That's what mine always says. There's an alternative version of that that says month in review. So you can kind of pick whichever one you'd like. We know that this is for the month of May. So I will pull May as well. What I may do for May, we'll see. I might just do this where I have kind of May about last month. And then I'll do my list here and then maybe throw in a couple of more icons to kind of break this up a little bit. In fact, I think that's what I will do. So I can decide if I want to, let me pull something out here really quickly. This, yeah, okay. So this is my 2025 year in review project kit. So I do one of these every year, and it is a project kit that you can purchase that has, you know, all the product in it that you need to do your full year. So I've used that stamp set in a couple of different ways. Sometimes I will put the month down below like that and decorate right there. Let's see. Sometimes this is a little bit, oopsie, a little bit lighter, so a little bit more difficult to see. But I put the number, the 2-digit number of the month. So 02 would be February, and then I write February right. I stamp February down there. This guy, putting about last month here and then doing the month over there. Just some different variations. This one, I did some shadow stamping. So 2 different colors. So stamped the light color and then kind of offset it and stamped again in a little bit darker color and then put the month down there. So lots of different ways that you can kind of use that stamp set in combination as you do your kind of your little title here. But I think, like I said, I think what I will do, although, I don't know, that could nest really nicely like that. Maybe if I do that, then I could do something like this. Maybe that guy would, I think let's do that. I think that might be really fun right there. So knowing that's going to be pink, let's pick out 2 other colors. And look, that pink is like Kitsch Flamingo, dead on. I mean, that's not how the color palette was picked, but tends to work really well. Let me see. Lael, where is next on your bucket list? So actually, Louisa, this would be a place that I'm traveling again. Nick and I are headed to South Africa in August, actually with my mom and one of her friends. That's kind of our big anniversary celebration, our 30th anniversary. I would say after that, Italy. I mean, I've traveled all over Europe, but really, really want Italy. So that's probably what's next. Kristen, am I just here home from work? Are you doing a class with your new kit? With the postcards and passports? Yes, ma'am. This just happens to be on my desk. Still working on the project. This ships mid-June, but it is a mini book project kit using that collection. Let me see. What is it you say about not comparing your beginning? Yes, Susan. Some of you know the Reset Girl, Corey Speaker. That was something that she had said in a class that I took from her maybe 10 years ago at PlannerCon. And she said, don't compare your beginning with someone else's middle. And that I loved. And that just kind of works a lot of areas in life. Could be to crafting, it could be to knitting or playing the guitar, or it could be to a health journey or a weight loss journey or a career journey or a relationship journey, right? It's so, they say comparison is the evil. I can't remember, whatever that is, that it's not good when we compare ourselves to other people, right? But if you don't know where that person you're comparing yourself to is in their journey, then that's really not good for you. So yes, one of my favorite ones. Wanda, we are getting together this Saturday. Yeah, so twice this week. So we will also be listing this Saturday, the 7th. All right. So, about last month, May, and that guy. So we know we're already going to do pink there. Gosh, I get off track. You guys know I squirrel. So what other color, what other colors might we like to use here? So I don't have a lot of orange. I haven't pulled, there is orange in the collection, but I haven't pulled in a lot of orange. So there's just orange and little washies. So I don't know if I want to do the orange. Squeezed lemonade. I mean, really, this guy. It's this guy, and then maybe, I don't know, salvaged patina. Let me look at that one. I'm actually going to pull out the swatch on that because this is a photograph, and then it is printed on a printer, and each time that you do something with something that's actual, the color can kind of change a little bit from a photo to the printer. So let's see if we did salvage patina. All right, so that is looking, because I find printers really struggle with mint. That's kind of that minty color. So salvaged patina, and actually it works better with this than it does in that little view. So let's go with salvaged patina. I feel like I need to enunciate that. I think we'll do that, and then Kitsch Flamingo. Kitsch Flamingo is always a good one. I mean, I probably have, when you look at the colors in the Distress palette, when you look at the colors that I use most often, it's probably that type of color range, right? Probably that type of color range. Thank you, Carol. Comparison is the thief of joy. I got part of that, right? I got part of that. All right, so we need now I think we'll do, well, we'll see. I need my little test notebook here. I also need a pencil board. And I'll explain all of this as I'm using it. You're like, what the heck are you doing? That, and I need a stamping block, that guy. And I also need a smaller stamping block for May. All right, so here is the stamping block I'm going to use for May. It is right-sized. You heard that word? Right-size? That stamping block is right-sized for that stamp. I have been stamping for about 6 years, so I am what I would consider still a relatively new stamper. There were all kinds of things that I had no clue about. One of the things that I found and learned along the way, that if I want to be successful when it comes to stamping, I want to have the smallest stamping block possible for my stamp. It's a lot easier to maneuver and hold that way. So that's one of my little 1.625 round stamping blocks. Next up, we have this guy. This is kind of long and fairly narrow. This stamping block was created for this stamp set. Now, it works for lots of other things, but I did not have a stamping block that was long and narrow like this. And so as we were looking at new stamping blocks that we wanted to introduce, this one made a lot of sense. 5 inches wide by 1 inch tall. This works really well when you have a long, narrow stamp. All right, so there we go. I've pulled my 2 stamping blocks. Those are ready to roll. I'll talk about my pencil board here in a minute. This is my little test notebook. Anytime I'm stamping, I pull this out and I stamp in this before I ever stamp in a project. The reason I do that is because there are some things that I want to learn here as opposed to here. I want to make sure I like the ink color that I've picked. If I learn that here, then I can change it if I don't like it. If I learn that here, oh well, I already stamped it. If my stamping block, or excuse me, if my stamp maybe has a little lint or hair on it, If there is anything on that stamp, it is going to prevent the ink from adhering. So when I go to stamp, I will have a little space in my stamped image where that little lint or hair, Reggie hair, cat hair, whatever it is. So something like that, I can find out ahead of time. If I am not super comfortable with stamping, or maybe I have a brand new stamp I haven't used before, if I play with it here, I'm not worried about what's going to happen right here. This is just like scratch paper. So I can kind of get my nervousness out of the way. I can learn some things maybe about the stamp if it's a brand new stamp I haven't used before. All of those things I can figure out here before I have done it on my project. When I say some things that maybe you learn about your stamp, different stamps need different pressure. So if you have a really small, teeny, maybe like a little word strip type stamp, you don't need to apply as much pressure as you would maybe a stamp like this. And if you have a small stamp, even something like that, and you apply too much pressure, what's going to happen is it is going to flatten out that stamping material, and it's going to make your letters or your stamped image look a little bit blurry. So those are all things that are really easy to figure out when you are kind of testing first. All right. So as we were trying to figure out, do we do this here? And then do we do May in the salvage? Did I get out salvage patina? I did not. Let's get that out. Here we go. This also, if I'm testing, will let me kind of play around in the color combinations to see maybe what I'd like to do. About last month, May. So as we look at this and I see this, I'm like, that would look good, but that's an awful lot of pink, right? I have that big pink suitcase. So that's a lot of pink up there. So I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. So I'm going to give myself another option. I'm going to flop those colors, but I am going to test that again because I would like to see which variation I like better. Really important part of your stamping process is if you are switching colors, like I'm switching colors right now, thoroughly clean that stamp. And then this is the most important part, make sure to dry it because I am just about ready to re-ink that again, right? I'm going to re-ink. I cleaned off Kitsch Flamingo and I am going to re-ink with Salvage Patina. I want to clean in between and then dry. If I don't dry, depending on the type of ink that I'm using, some inks are water reactive. Your Distress Oxides are a pigment-based ink, so they can be water reactive. And if you have any moisture on your stamp and it's not completely dry, you're running the risk of that ink reacting with the water. Now, when I say running the risk, it's not a bad thing, and that's one of the really cool properties that pigment-based inks have. But if you do not want them to react to the water, then you probably don't want them to react. So I always will clean and dry in between my changing of the color. And I have used stamp chamois there, and then I'm just using a microfiber towel to dry because I don't want to apply, or transfer I should say, any fibers or something. If you've ever, sometimes paper towels will transfer fibers. Baby wipes sometimes will really transfer fibers. So you'll end up with lots of little fibers or little hairs on your stamp. And then we were talking about before, if there's anything on your stamped image, you won't be able to, well, the ink won't adhere. And then you'll end up with a little space. All right, so there's that. We'll flip-flop this and see which of these that we like better. Now, the one thing I'm thinking here, this may be a little bit too, not matchy-matchy, but pink here, and then a pink up there. And that's just personal preference, right? All right, well, what did we do with our little circle? Was it back here? Oh, here it is, way over here. I put it over here so it wouldn't get lost. Hello, Reg. Hello, buddy. Get in your bucket. All right, so there's that version. I kind of like that. I think this one is just a little bit too, I like this one better. However, that's just like I said, that's a lot of pink. We have a lot of pink here and that's a lot of pink up there. So if we look at it this way, I think that'll be nice, but I really don't like that. What I might do, yeah, that's too, like I said, it's too matchy-matchy. So what I'm going to do, not matchy-matchy, but like dink every other. So I am going to go with that color combination and I will use the 05 on the stamp set for that. I'm sure I have other, let's look, let me look. Is there another die cut that I would like to put there that, I don't want to put a cloud there. I don't want to put the green there. Well, actually, or maybe yellow. All right, let's look. Let's see. Let me see if I can find those guys without, well, I don't know. Now I'm going to totally, okay, way too big, right? Way too big. The color works, but too big. This guy, you know what? I think I'm just going to do, I'm going to go back to keep it simple. You know what they say, keep it simple. Kiss, keep it simple, stupid. Or keep it simple, silly. All right, let's go back. We're just going to do our 05 for the month of May. All right, there we are. And we're going with that and the big and that. Okay, so what I need to do now, I am going to clean this off again, even though I'm still using the same color. It's been a hot minute since I stamped that, right? So that has partially dried. The ink is partially dried on there. And it'll be dry in some spots, not the other spots. So if I then try to re-ink, I might get really blotchy results there. So that's just me, but I like to re-clean and re-ink if it's going to be a while. Now, between kind of my application. What I'm going to do, move this out of the way, and I'm bringing in a pencil board. So a pencil board is a fancy name for something that you slide under. Hello, Miss Kelly Bangs. How are you? Nice to see you, my friend. All right. So I am taking this pencil board and I am sliding it under the page that I want to stamp on. All right. When you are working in a traveler's notebook, you can't take the page out. If I'm stamping directly on the page, I can't take that page out. It is easier if I take the page out and I am stamping here on my nice flat hard surface with nothing bumpy underneath it, but I can't do that in this case because it's connected. So I can give myself a flat surface by using a pencil board. So that I am just sliding under my page. I can do my stamping there and should give me a nice flat surface. Now, what I'm going to do really quickly though is grab a clip. I'm going to grab this clip like that, and now that is going to help that to stay flat. As I get deeper and deeper in my insert, you can see what happens. This is going to want to stick up, and then I'm going to be holding it and trying to stamp. Basically I just gave myself another hand here, right? That's going to kind of hold that closed for me. Alrighty, so now we are ready for this. I think I usually go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. I don't remember. I think that's good. We'll start right there because that's too high. Yeah, I think it must go down 6. All right. So let me just make a quick pencil mark there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's my little frame of reference. So I know that I want to stamp there. I'm trying to take as much guesswork out of it beforehand. What I don't want to do is ink up and then be like, oh shoot, where am I going? And oh, I've got to hold this and I've got to hold that. So I'm trying to set myself up for success before I ever stamp, because I know some of you are really nervous to stamp. And I say, like anything in life, practice makes perfect. I learned a lot of things the hard way. There's so many things I didn't know about stamping that I didn't like stamping for a long time, because there's all these little tips and tricks that once you know, just makes life a lot easier. Right size your stamping block. Use a pencil board. Another big one, which I'm doing right now, is stand when you are stamping. Stand when you're stamping. You guys always laugh at me when I say this, but when you are sitting, if you sit or right now, like I stand the whole time I do this. It's because it's when I'm crafting, I stand. I think I get a better perspective. But when you are sitting, let me just do this. I'm applying nice even pressure. I'm not rocking the boat. I don't want to rock my stamping block because it applies undue pressure at the top and the bottom as I'm rocking. Woo! Look how pretty. Nice and crisp and lovely. When you are, let me do my little 5 and then we'll talk about this. When you are sitting, I need another stamping block, right? Remember what I say, right size your stamping block to your stamp. Much easier if I have a stamping block that is similar to the size of my stamp, as opposed to like trying to put it on this. Now it would work on this, but that's just a lot of extra kind of material there that I am trying to work with when I have such a small stamp. Let me clean this. You may have noticed that I am stamping both of these separately. I always will stamp things separate, as opposed to, I could have put all 3 of those stamps on the same stamping block. Well, really those 2, because that's a different color. I could have put those on the same stamping block, but I don't do that because then I'm not in control of the placement of my stamps. In this example, if I wanted to put the 5 right here, look where the 5 would have to sit. It would have to sit way up there because that's extra rubber or polymer on that stamp set. It's there to give it more stability so you get a nice even stamp. But when you are trying to put something else there, that's really where I want it, but I can't do that, right? Because that polymer's in the way. So stamping separately. When you are sitting, these are your T-Rex arms, okay? You don't have a lot of range of motion when you're sitting. And for me, stamping is all about range of motion and leverage. So when I stand, look at my range of motion. I have so much more range of motion as opposed when I'm sitting with my little T-Rex arms. In my opinion, you should always, always, always stand when you are stamping for that reason. You've got that range of motion. Another thing, some of you work at a like regular desk height desk, and then you say, oh my gosh, Lael, but if I do that, then I'm way far away from my work surface. I have a countertop height. My desk is countertop height. And if you feel like that's too far to bend over when you're stamping, take it into the kitchen or take it into the bathroom. Take whatever you're doing that has a taller height, like your kitchen or bathroom. That will help you kind of have more perspective, have you help with your leverage and help with that range of motion. All right, so now my 5 is going right here. All right. 05 about last month. And now I will stamp May. I will tell you this list, when we do about last month generally takes a while to do because I am talking about so many things when we do this list. I am introducing the whole concept of about last month. I'm talking about printing your photos, and then I'm decorating, and then I'm talking about stamping, and I'm doing tips with stamping. So if I were to just be doing this list all by myself, I would have been done. Oh, what did I get on my face there? Uh-oh. I don't know what I did up there, but I got something sticky that pulled off the ink on my photo. Oh, well. That's how you know it's handmade, right? What was I just saying? Oh, yes, it takes longer. Definitely takes longer. If I was doing this list all by myself and you guys weren't here with me, I mean, I would have had this one done a long time ago. I don't know, maybe 45 minutes, maybe? I don't know. But it wouldn't take as long as it does, maybe half an hour. Because I already have my list done. I mean, I already know what's going on my list, right? Because I have to know what that is ahead of time for us to do this. I can't just, like, wing it. I mean, I could wing it, but that would, yeah, we don't want me to wing it. All right, there we go. 05, about last month, May. Those colors, I think, worked really well. Kitsch Flamingo and Salvaged Patina. Okay, so now I'm ready for my list. But before I start that, I love that color combination. That's a fun one. I don't use that color combination often. I don't know why. Before I start my list, I think I would like to add just a few more things to this little area, right? So let's look maybe we could do one of these little things because that would pull a little bit of orange in there, right? And I want these to try to just kind of be random. If you've ever tried to do like random, like if you've ever thrown some sequins up in the air, let's say you want to place some sequins randomly, it's very difficult to like do random. So these are random-esque. Erase that little pencil mark. I don't know. This could be fun. This is simply amazing. Maybe we'll do that. How about that? My gosh, I think Nick's on a work call. I don't know if you guys can hear him. All right, we can take this out now. We don't need that in there still. That'll make it a lot easier if we're not trying to work with that. Okay. Need my little glue pen here. How are you, friends? I mean, it's been, holy cow, like 3 weeks. Are you doing well? How are you? Are you crafting with me tonight? Are you listing with me tonight? Some of you have never made a list in your life. And you know, well, not, you know what I mean. Of course you've made a list. You've done a spelling list or a grocery list or some kind of list. But some of you have never done this type of list ever with me. But you've been here for 5 years, which I love. Because that means you're here for something else. That means you're here for the community or the camaraderie or the entertainment or just to have noise in the background. I get that. I get that. So it was funny. Nick was out of town. And remember, I had no internet. And so I was, you know, like ready to poke my eyes out. And so I texted Vicky. I'm like, hey, do you want to craft together tonight? Because that you can do over FaceTime using my cellular data. And she's like, yeah. And so we didn't end up doing any crafting. We just chatted on the phone, FaceTime. But sometimes if I feel like I'm by myself and I want somebody to be with me, sometimes I'll put on a YouTube. Like I'll put on Vicky's and just, it feels like I have a friend there with me, right? So I get it. If you list with me, great. If you don't list with me, totally great too. All right, there's a lot going on here. Okay, so for my list. This is my workbook. This is what I do to plan for our sessions. Now, normally I've got all kinds of sketches and things, so I have a really good idea ahead of time of what I want to do. Here, no sketches. I don't need a sketch here because it pretty much always looks the same. This is my little sketch here. This one, I know what I'm doing, and there's nothing on my list yet because it's all based on the photos. So don't worry if you're like, oh my gosh, Lael, what the heck? All right, so on my list, things that happened during the month of May. One more thing I need. I need a little bullet stamp. So bullet stamp is a series of little stamps. That's a little stamp right there. That's a bullet stamp. Bullet stamp I pretty much use on almost all of my lists. That's a little bit larger one. But I need some kind of stamp. That is from the Glimmer stamp set, that little guy. But I need something to separate the things on my list. So I thought I would use, this is the Say It stamp set from Postcards and Passports. I thought I would either use a star or maybe the little geotag. I think I'll use the geotag because I did a lot. I mean, kind of October. May was all about kind of the traveling. There was lots of travel happening. So we'll just use a little geotag. I think that will be fun. Oh, come on out. There we go. Alrighty, so let's take that little guy. Nope, that's not the geotag, that's the arrow. Geotag. Now I need to decide what color. I think I'm going to continue with the salvaged patina. Now let's see, does that fit on my stamping stylus? All right, it does not. So there is my stamp. It is too big for the end of that little stamping stylus. So when I say right size, you need to also not have your stamping block be too small. That is wrong size. Or that is hard size. That'll make it a little bit difficult to work if it's too small. So I will use this guy. This is a set. Those are two cylindrical stamping blocks. That will work for that little guy. All right, so let's just test that. See what that one looks like. There's someone, and I don't remember who it was. TK, maybe? I don't remember. That'll be cute. Someone in the Lail by Mail Facebook group today shared her about last month for the month of May. She had already done hers, and I love what she said. She shared a photo, and I love what she said. She said, oh my gosh, I love this project. This is the one and only project that I have stayed consistent with and kept up with, and I've done it for 4 years, which I just love it when I hear people say things like that. It just makes my heart so happy. Virginia said, I have tons of stamps I've collected over the years, and now I can put them to work. Absolutely, right? A lot of us are collectors, right? We're collectors. We like to collect all of these things, and sometimes we don't use all the things. We just collect. And you know what? You do you. But I encourage you to use what you buy, right? You spend good money on it. So once you get familiar again or comfortable again, maybe with stamping, using some of the tips that I've talked about, then get out your things and play, right? Get out your things and play. And I think part of what we do here when we're doing our creative listing is that it can be play, right? I mean, it's a list. It is a list. Let's, like this one. Here's a list of my routine, right? It's kind of cool because I'm documenting myself, but I'm also playing, right? I can get out the rub-ons that I fell in love with, and I can get out some stamps and different pattern paper and just give myself permission to play. Sometimes a bigger project, like maybe if you're a scrapbooker, like a 12 by 12 scrapbook page or a mini book seems way too much and you feel like you can't necessarily play and experiment in that. This is a teeny little piece of paper. We can play and experiment, and then if you don't like it, guess what? You turn the page and then you move on to the next thing. All right, so things that happened in the month of May. Sam and I went to lunch at Feldman's. Feldman's is a German deli. Oh my gosh, it is so good. Sam and I had a little heart-to-heart. We ate lunch, and then I asked him a question, and he said, I knew this is why you wanted to go to lunch. I had a feeling Sam was not happy in his relationship with his girlfriend. And so I just asked him, are you happy? And then I let him talk for a long time. So then a big thing that happened in May is that Sam and Anna broke up. And it's interesting because we took Sam and Anna to the Post Malone concert. And I observed there that Sam maybe wasn't very happy. But I had said to Nick that night, I'm like, oh, I can tell this is not a good thing. And Nick's like, whoa, you're reading too much into it, whatever. And I'm like, mother's intuition and woman's intuition. So Sam and I go to lunch, and I'm like, Sam, we talked a lot. And then I said, are you happy? And then I let him talk, which if you know me, that's not easy for me to do, to let someone else talk. So I just let him talk, and I let him talk and kind of did that. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I can see that. Oh, how does that make you feel? Yeah, okay. Yeah. I didn't steer him in any direction, just let him talk. And then he, a couple of days later, just said, you know what? Yeah, I don't think that is, I'm not happy. And so, that's always sad. They were together for about a year, so that, it's always sad for that to happen. But that was kind of that's something that happened in my month. Not necessarily to me, but someone I love. All right. We did, oh yes. We had an all-day international scrapbook day listing celebration. You can always count on 2 of those a year. One is the 3rd week in March for the listing with Lail anniversary, and then one is always the first Saturday in May for International Scrapbook Day. I also launched in May, that weekend, launched my brand new first ever paper crafting collection. Whoops, ... collection with an M. Postcards and passports. So basically this is just one big run-on list, right? One big run-on list, and I'm just making a list of the things that happen. A lot of times I will say that I think people, some people shy away from doing any kind of documenting because they feel like they have to be Ernest Hemingway, right? You feel like you have to write the soliloquy about all of the amazing things that you did during the month of May, or how, the birds were, I'm not Ernest Hemingway, so I can't even speak like that, right? But sometimes that prevents people from doing something like this. And I say in this format, if you're just making a run-on list, you don't care what you're saying. I mean, you do care what you're saying. You don't care how you say it. You're not worried about how you say it because you're literally just making a list. And I think that can be a really, really, really easy, approachable way of telling your story. All right. We went to the Jason Isbell concert with Bill and Linda and got soaked. I mean, I have never seen rain come down like it was coming down at that concert. And it was an outdoor concert. Now, the weather called for rain, so our friends Bill and Linda, because they invited us and treated us, they had the tickets, brought like rain ponchos for all of us to wear. And I am not kidding you, I've never been so freaking soaking wet in my life, but it was so much fun. But that's part of the memory, right? I can say we went to the concert, but what I'll remember, or maybe what I won't remember until I read this 10 years from now, is how we sat in the pouring rain, but still had so much fun. And I don't have a photo for that, right? I don't have to have photos for all the things on my list, or I could have things on my list that maybe I don't have photos for, or photos that I don't have things on my list. Either way, don't have to have photos. You could do this list without having photos at all. Yes, Mother's Day brunch. Hello, dear.
Well, hello everyone.
House fishing.
Awesome.
Oh, okay, great.
I caught a giant fish.
Well, I know you caught like 10 giant fish. Yeah, last week. So Nick is in sales. Nick does lots of things with customers because that's what you do when you're in sales. So last week he flew to Alaska and was fishing, deep sea fishing. That is a salmon that he caught. Now he apparently just went, "What is that?"
I caught Joe.
You did? Oh my gosh, I won't show you that picture. So it's of one of his buddies. No, nobody wants to see that. No.
I just caught him with the fly in the
You
back of
got him with the fly. So he was fly fishing today, and he shows me this picture. Well, there's a fly, like a fly with a hook. Fly fishing, it's like a hook and a little pretend fly on it. That you cast it into his neck? Oh yeah, no.
Right before the last cast of the day.
Oh my gosh, no, that's horrible. Yuck, I didn't want to see that. I mean, it wasn't bleeding or anything, but okay, friends, sorry that you had to hear that. Sorry you had to hear that little conversation back and forth with Nick and I. Okay, thank you, Carrie. Carrie said you totally hit it out of the park with your first collection. Thank you. Wanda said, all of my about last month is about my family. They are my life, right? And that's what I think is so cool, Wanda. And I love that you shared that. That is what is so cool about this type, well, really any of our lists. This is my list, and your list is your list. We all do things totally differently. All this just is give you a framework, give you an idea of how you might decide to document your life. But I love that. Wanda had to think about that for a minute. That it is, right? All about your family. Now, sometimes there are things on my list about our kids, Jack and Sam. In February, my mom and I flew up to Washington State and went wedding dress shopping with Jack's fiance. So a lot of times there are things about us, and sometimes there are things about different members of our family, and it's just kind of a big old mismatch. All right. I taught my Disney Traveler's Notebook class. Now, half of my month was spent traveling on two trips. So, my whole list doesn't have to be about that though, right? And most of my photos are about those 2 trips, but that doesn't mean that I have to have photos of all these things again, right? I get to decide what I want to do. Nick and I went to the Oregon coast for 6 days, to celebrate our 30th anniversary. I will be doing another list kind of about my like top 10 memories from that trip. And that one will be, you'll be like, well, I don't want to do a list about the top 10 memories from your 30th anniversary trip to Oregon. And I say, but you don't have to. My list is about my top 10 favorites or memories about something. So you can do a list about your top 10 favorite memories about something. So I'll do that. I don't know when I have that planned. A couple weeks, I think. So that's all I'm going to talk about there, right? Really, that's all I'm going to say there. Then, so spent 8 days. 8 days at Priest Lake. Now, I feel like I have to tell you, even though I really don't have to tell you. I feel like I have to tell you, when I travel like this, I work. I have to. I mean, I wish I was in a position with my business where I could take half of the month off and not do any work, but it's not there. And I wouldn't want it to be there, right? I really wouldn't want it to be there because I want to be, part of my business and still be really in touch with what's going on. So lots of travel, but work. Our internet was out for 5 days. That's a big one, right? Five days. And the last thing on my list is that, actually 2 things. Nick fished in Alaska. And the very last one is working on my next collection. It is called, I can't remember if I told you, it's called Dear December. And actually that's not a play on words. It's not like DEER, like not like a, it's not like, I wanted to say Bambi. Bambi is a deer. It's not like Rudolph. It's not like deer as in Rudolph December. It's more like deer, like write a letter, dear December. All right, Dear December, yes. Okay, friends, there we go. That is my list. That is my About Last Month list for the month of May. It is now in the books and done. If I wanted, I have word strip stickers that are also part of postcards and passports. So I feel like in hindsight, I should have had this, I put this too low. Remember when I was going back and forth, I'm like, do I do 5 or do I do 6 lines down? I think I normally do 5. So what I might do is just put a little word strip sticker right up there. I always say if it looks like something is missing, see how when you look at that, there's kind of that big old like blank space up there. If it looks like something is missing, the answer is a word strip sticker. So let's see what we do. Now this one is very obviously themed for travel. If I didn't want to do travel, I could pull out another one, but I think this one right here might work. Adventure awaits. Adventure awaits. The best thing about being on vacation, see all the things. I mean, there's a lot of different things that could work. On indefinite break, it kind of felt like that, didn't it? All right, let's do this. Adventure awaits. Because there were lots of adventures. There were lots of adventures in the month. I need to pull this a little bit closer to me just so I can try to make sure that I get that semi-even. All right, there we go. There is, and now I think I'll put one more over here on this suitcase. Now that I see that, this suitcase kind of looks like it should have something right there. I'll be back. Globetrotter, going places, getting there is half the fun. It sure is. Experience all the things. Maybe, I don't know, now I feel like experience all the things. I'm going to see if I can do this. Let's see. Let me try and see if I can lift this up. I think it is there. So if I wanted, I could do this. Maybe we'll just do that. Maybe we'll just put that right over the top. Right over the top. I feel like that is just a little better suited because it is, here's these, it's a little wider. Adventure Awaits was, I think, a little bit too narrow. There we go. Experience all the things. And then down here, I'll put something small. Experience all the things, save all the things. Happy trails. Are we there yet? Eat all the things. Sometimes, right? On vacation, eat all the things. How about take the trip? I think that will work well. Take the trip. There we go. There is my about last month for the month of May. Okay, let's do this. Let's do a prize. Should we do a live prize? How about that? Let me write this down. I am way behind in announcing the prizes, so just know it's on my list. It's on my list for our past weeks. I think for the 10th and also International Scrapbook Day. I know. All right, so prize today. Oh, live prize is not this one because I've used it, but the Say It postcards and passports stamp set. Even though the only thing I used in there was that little geotag. There's some really fun travel themed stamps on there. So if you have not participated in a live giveaway before, the way that it works is I say, okay, I'm going to give a prize. And the way you participate is in the chat. You are leaving chats in the chat. And I am going to take that time to put these things away. And once I get all these things put away, then I will stop what I'm doing. I will take my finger and I roll it up in the chat. And wherever it stops, that is the person that wins. All right. So live giveaways are fun. But I also do what I call after party giveaways. After party giveaways are done in the comments section of the video, not the chat, in the comment section of the video. And that lets anyone participate, even if they could not attend live. So the way that you participate in those, the after party prizes, is that you leave a comment on the video once it's over. And then before Saturday, I promise you, Saturday morning, I will, before we start, I will go in and draw one of those random lucky comments. That random lucky winner will win whatever that prize is. All right. So where is? Just get all these things put away. Quickly, do that. Some of those don't go in there, but that's okay. And then I'm going to keep this. So for next time, when I need to look at the colors or say, hey friends, these are the colors that match. If you're trying to match your colors, put these in here also. All right, there we go. I think that we are ready. So I am going to stop. I'm going to scroll up and Flora Carswell. Flora. Congratulations, Flora. You are the random lucky winner of the Say It, the postcards and passports Say It stamp set. So please send an email to lailbymail@gmail.com. In the subject line, please put winner, Say It stamp set. And then in the body of the email, please put your mailing address and we will get that shipped off to you this week. While we're talking about that, I want to just bring this guy up really quickly. You guys, holy cow, this day's stamp set, what a sleeper. You shocked me. I can't believe how many of these sold. They sold out. So they are on reorder right now. I should have them, I think the tail end of this week. So that would be around maybe June 6th. So these are back up on the website. You can purchase them now, but it does tell you that they will not ship until then. So if you had been trying to get those days stamp sets, the days stamp set and missed that they're back. So, all right. And then there's another stamp in the set too. That little guy, your mini icons. All right. So let's keep going. Let's go to our next list. Our next list is, let me think which one I want to do next. I think I'm going to do this because I know we have some people that were at Little Craft Fest here. My second list is kind of my favorite things about Little Craft Fest. So Little Craft Fest was a big stationary event that took place in Conroe, Texas. That is a suburb of Houston. Took place in Conroe, Texas in April. That was the first that they had done. There is a second one. They will be doing it again in April of 2026. A combination of workshops and vending, so a marketplace. So in that marketplace, I think there were maybe more than 100 vendors. I was a vendor there. So we had 3 big tables of product. And then I also taught 2 workshops. So I've never done anything like that before. Now, I've taught workshops all over the world, literally all over the world. But I've never vended my own product before at an event like that. So huge, lots to learn, right? But it was amazing. It was awesome. Amy was there along with Amy's daughter and 2 of Amy's friends, and they were there attending, but oh my gosh, they helped so much. Met Terry Leto there. I hadn't met Terry in person before. Gerda. I met so many of you. Serenity Now just said that she was at Little Craft Fest. I met a lot of you guys there, which was so cool to like connect in person. So I thought it would be fun to do a list about some of my favorite things with photos about Little Craft Fest. Again, if you were at Little Craft Fest and you want to do the same list, then you could do that. But most of you were not there. So just fill in the blank. This was your favorite, some of your favorite memories about, I don't know, maybe the school year if you have kids. Some of you are teachers, some of you are grandparents. What's some of your favorite things about being a grandparent? There are lots of things. A favorites list is easy, right? All right. So what we're going to do here, I am using, okay, on this list, I am using a brand new collection. It is from Pretty Little Studio, and it is called Love is Kind. It is a friendship-based collection, and I thought this collection would be really fun to use for this list. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Yes. Cindy, I met Cindy there. Will I do it next year? Absolutely, Terry. I will be there again next year. Absolutely. For 2 nights there, we had a little very informal Squirrel Squad meetup. So we all met in the lobby, people that were you guys, like part of the Squirrel Squad, right? And that was just so fun. That was fun for me to kind of connect with a lot of you, but it was also cool because I think some of you guys got to meet each other in person. Like, I know Terry and Gerda spent some time together. They hadn't met before. So that was kind of cool. And then Terry had met some other people that were, I don't know if they were even followers of me, Terry, but then she brought them to our little Squirrel Squad meetup. So it was a lot of fun. Let me have a quick hydration break here, friends. Gigi, I love that. Gigi said, your booth was my first beeline, gotta buy your stuff. I love that. Thank you. And Carolyn, yes, I loved meeting you. It was so much fun. And there are some of you that I met quite a few times because you kept coming back to the booth, which was awesome. I loved that. All right. I will tell you, other than ordering this product and seeing it online to order it, I have not opened any of it yet. I've not opened any of it. So we're kind of going to be looking at it together as I figure out what I would like to use. I printed out photos. And I don't plan on using the photos like this. I plan on cutting these photos apart. All right, so I might as well do that right now. This will be a kind of photo heavy listing session. I would say most of my lists probably don't have photos. And I would say the reason that most of my lists don't have photos is, I don't know about you guys, but I find for me that if I have to have photos for a project, like making a list, like if I feel like for my morning routine, and I certainly could, I could take photos of the different parts of my morning routine. But if I felt like I had to have photos of all those things, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's too much work. I don't want to have to go get all those, take all the photos, edit the photos, print the photos. So I might be like, you know what? I'm not going to do that list because I don't want to do all the photos. That's probably honestly why so many of my lists don't have photos, because I don't necessarily have a photo, or I don't necessarily want to have to take the time to take a photo or find the photo. Not all of our documenting has to have photos, right? It's fun if some of the things do, but they don't all have to. All right, so before I cut these apart, those were from a 4x6 photo, right? So that started out as a 4x6 photo like that. And I, again, printed that on the Epson PictureMate PM400 using that Epson Creative Print app. And this was another one of the pre-configured templates, right? And so I went into it knowing that would be fun to do photos like that, knowing that I would then trim them down and use them that way. All right, so I do think that I will end up putting, I need my little clip again. Just when you start to get so much in your insert, that little guy just doesn't want to lay down, right? So I will tell you, this was a little squirrel squad, our little meetup one of the nights. That's Amy. That's my right hand Robin to my Batman. That's Terry. So a lot of you guys know Terry Leto. That's Amy's daughter. Oh, this was really fun. And I don't remember, I am horrible at names. I don't remember these two ladies' names, but this is her mother-in-law, and they both love to craft together, which I thought was so fun. So that was photo from our little meetup. This is one from one of my workshops. This is part of my table setup. This was the craziness. There's people shopping. Look at all those people in there shopping. But these were ladies at the booth. They were doing a little bit of stamping. And then this, Amy, Lael, Rhonda, and Joni. So Amy and her friends, my friends too, but they flew in to attend, and they were so much help. I can't even tell you. Anyhow, super fun event. Oh yeah, and then this one. Okay, Gerda. You guys know Gerda Gray, right? Gerda's in the chat all the time. Terry Leto, you know Terry. Terry's in the chat all the time. Lael, and then there's Nick in the back. I did drag Nick with me. Nick has never done anything. Nick has never traveled with me for business when I've been teaching. I'm like, Nick, you have to come because I've got to teach workshops. There's a booth. I'm just going to need a lot of help. And so he did. Oh, he was a trooper. He was, some of you that, if you were there, you know, he was chatting you up in the booth, telling you that you needed to watch me and you needed to do this and you needed to come on Saturdays and you needed to buy these things. And then he'd be like, oh, a pencil board. You don't know what a pencil board is? And then he would tell you what a pencil board is, which is funny because Nick is not a person like what we do. Nick is a fisherman. Nick golfs. Nick skis. Nick's in sales. Well, there you go. Nick's in sales. So that's why that worked out. Nick's in sales. So he was selling, very quickly learning about all of my products so then he could tell people about them, which was fun. All right. So I've opened up starting out with this mixed paper pack, Love is Kind. This is brand new collection from Pretty Little Studio. Let's look at it this way and see. I need things to be, this one could be really fun. Let's look at that one. Those little hearts. We might need that one too. Let's see. Ooh, okay. So this would be fun with this for my little right? Wouldn't that be great? There's my 2-page list, right? That just kind of spoke to me. I like literally have never opened up this product. So that was easy. That'll be fun. And before we settle on that, we need to be thinking about some things, Lael, because this is 6 inches wide. We're working with 5 here. So, right, we're going to end up cutting down quite a bit of this. So will this still work if we cut this down? Because we'll have some photos. Okay, hold on. Let's look at over here because maybe we'll end up with some overlapping. Maybe we'll just kind of end up with something like this. I don't want to cover up people's heads and faces, so we'll try not to do that. But if we do, you know what? We don't need the product in there, right? We don't need the product. Let's do this. We'd rather have all the people in there, right? Because really, that was my favorite thing, is meeting all the fun people. I think we'll do a little bit of overlapping like this. This is funny now. This is not what I had in mind at all. I was going to do, oh shoot, I missed one. Okay, hold on. This has to be in here. We'll do this. There we go. That'll be great. I'll still use this. That'll be just kind of a great, well, I don't know. We might not want to do that background now, right? I'm just totally talking to myself, friends. I do like this here, but we maybe need something a little bit more. Something a little bit more decorative on that other side because kind of upside down. So if that went like that, I just would like to have something a little bit more decorative on this side so it's not so plain, right? Now, so it's funny because I don't have a sketch for this one, what I was thinking. So let's keep looking. Let's keep looking. No, I don't want to do that because white and off-white. But I'm talking you through why I am not selecting things. I think that's important. At least to me, it's important that I share that because you might be like, well, Lael, that was cute. Why didn't you like that? Maybe. I mean, really, so much of what we use there is going to end up being covered up, right? What I'd really like is if it would go this way. Oh, off-white again. Maybe this one. We'll just end up seeing little tiny bits of that, but that may just be enough to give us a little bit of extra. I think it's that. All right. We had to switch gears there a little bit. Okay, now we need to trim these down. This is 6 by 9. We're working in standard wide, which is 5 by 8.25. Now, a little trick. Well, not a little trick, but a little tip. Normally, I am working with paper. Well, not so much normally anymore. When I work with paper from a 6 by 8 paper pad, I trim the width to 4 3/4. The reason I do that, because it is 6 by 8, the 8 compared to 8.25 gives me a nice little white border all the way around. So that means I want to trim this to 8 by 4 3/4. That would give me that nice even white border all the way around. So let's trim this to 8. Yes, it was so fun. Terry's husband was there. Terry's husband, Bob, was there. It's just so fun to meet people. Especially people that, you know, have been around. It feels like forever, right? Terry, it feels like forever. Like Terry knows me from my, Simple Stories days. All right, we need to do the same thing here. 8. And met some new people there. That didn't, you know, of course, that's why sometimes why we go to things like that, because there are people that, you know, that you get introduced to new brands, attendees. I did meet in person Lauren Phelps, and Lauren is the woman who does the tip-in tape. Many of you have bought that tip-in tape from me, and we had a chance to meet in person, which was really fun. We have some, I think, additional products that we're going to do together. And so that'll be fun, but it was just anything like that. It's, you know, obviously part of it is sales driven. Where is my corner rounder? Part of it is sales driven. Obviously that's part of the reason I go, right? It's not, you know, by the time you fly there in your hotel and ship all the product and pay for the booth and all of that. I mean, you know, you do need to make money. But also part of it is marketing. I mean, there's such an opportunity to get exposed to people that have no clue who you are, right? So that was fun too. Let's see. Let me see. Louisa, he did charm some people. He's a charmer. He for sure is a charmer. Yeah, Nick charmed some people into buying some products, I'm sure. But you know, not in like a used car salesman kind of way. Although, no, nothing against used car salesmen, right? Everybody's got a job. Everybody's got a job to do. So, but it was, I'm sure, in a very nice, subtle way. Let's see. Susan said, what did he say about the experience? He was fascinated by it, right? He's fascinated by it. And he's like, holy cow, some of these people can spend a lot of money. And I'm like, I know, right? And he's like, wow. And then every once in a while I'd be like, Nick, I'm going to leave you in the booth by yourself because it's slowed down a bit. So I need to go walk around and explore. And then I'd come back with bags. And he's like, why do you have all those bags? And I'm like, oh, market research, just market research. That's all. I mean, I've got to be clear here. This is my business. He really has nothing to do with it. And he does not tell me what I can and cannot buy. But he's like, oh, now I've seen all these ladies shopping here and you come back with these big bags. I'm like, well, yeah, market research, right? No, not really market research. For Lael's stash of products that she wants to use in her own projects. All right, I need to grab something here. I need to use a different adhesive right here. So I'm going to pull this off gently. When you get to the point where you are a little bit deeper in your traveler's notebook, I like to add a stronger adhesive right here along that edge, that right edge. Because the right edge of the left page, because it's starting to curve, right? I have so many things in here, it's starting to curve. So I need to give it a little bit of extra strength to adhere. So I am using 1/4-inch score tape. So that is super heavy duty, strong tape. So there's good and bad when it comes to tape like that. It's good because it's really strong, but it's also bad because it's really strong. Once you put it down, it is there. It's not moving. So you want to make sure that you get it in the right place and that it's straight. So generally what I do when I'm working with tape like that is I will just reveal a little bit of the sticky like that. All right. What that lets me do, I'm going to rotate this, but also rotate my book. I'm right-handed, or my insert. I'm right-handed, so it's easier for me to do it, come at it this way. That gives me some wiggle room. Look I can move this all around until I get it where it needs to be. It's not sticking yet. If I was doing this with all of that sticky revealed, it would not work. It would basically be down and I'd be like, oh, well, I guess that's where it's going to be. Let me pull that up again. Need to get it a little bit closer to me so I can see it a little bit better. All right, there we go. Now, once I get it to where I want it to go, I press down on that, the part where the stickiness is revealed, and then gently, slowly pull that out, and then that is now nice and straight, right? Okay. Let me see. Oh, but Susan, it was really funny. When we were setting up, he had no patience for setup whatsoever. Now I had diagrams. We had probably 100, at least 100 different stamp set SKUs there. So I had ahead of time figured out where everything was going to go. So it actually made it really easy, really for anyone to help set up the booth, because here's your little diagram and here's the photo of how, what goes where. But, oh my gosh, Nick started really losing patience. He started getting hangry. But other than that, it was all good. He thought it was interesting. I said, guess what, honey? It's happening again next year, so block it out in your calendar. Okay. Okay. I know, isn't that paper fun? So I will tell you a little kind of inside track on this collection, because I know Melissa. Melissa owns Pretty Little Studio. She is she's a small businesswoman, just like I am. She does all of her own artwork now. She does all of her own, she has a printer now that prints her paper, but she does all of her own stickers, all of her own die cuts. She uses, I think, like either Silhouette or Cricut to do all of her die cuts, and hand packages everything herself. So it's very much a labor of love. She actually does all of my word strip stickers for me. So I send her the artwork and she prints them and cuts them and packages them and everything. So she's been really awesome to work with. But Love is Kind originally started out as a Valentine's collection. And then she just had too many SKUs that she wanted to do and was running out of time for the window for Valentine's. And so she kind of started twisting things and made it a really fun friendship collection, which I really love. that theme of the collection, because you don't find a lot of collections that are kind of friendship based, but works for a lot of different things, right? Works for a little craft fest. I think we'll start up here. All right. So there's a lot of color in these photos, but guess what? That's okay. Lots of color in the photos. I probably just could have, not probably, I totally could have just done that on a piece of plain old cardstock and it would have been fine. Like on this guy, right? And saved it, but that's all right. Okay, so there we go. I think those will be fun there. Let's see. Now we'll just start up at the top. I could use the highlighter tape to just come back in and pick all those up, but I don't think I need to. Now I will tell you, I have bought lots of things at Little Craft Fest. There were some people had custom stickers and custom stamps that said Little Craft Fest. And I will be, this is one of the ways, oopsie, this is one of the ways, put a little adhesive there. This is one of the ways that I will be documenting Little Craft Fest, but I will also do it in one of my junk journal glue books where I've got all those fun stickers and postcards and memorabilia and things like that that I will also document. Okay, there we go. Good. Alrighty. There's so much going on in these photos, and there's so much going on in the like with the paper over here that I won't need to really use. I might find a title or two, we'll see, but I don't really need to use any embellishments. I don't think. All right, so let me just put this, let me get this put back in here just so I know what's what. Because sometimes I get them mixed up. That was the mixed paper pack that I just used. Those two papers were from the mixed paper pack. There is a main paper pack. Oh, look how fun that is. I love that one. Lots of really fun things in there. Look at the heart flowers. Those are so cute. Oh, and the cherries. Oh my gosh. Yeah, see when I say I order it online, but when I order it, I just order it. I'm not really paying attention to what everything looks like because I know I'll love it and I know you guys love it, so just order. But then when I start like pulling things out of the package, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so fun. There's a vellum pack. Vellum is really fun to do, like little tip-ins and things. So if I did have more photos that I wanted to do, I could put a little piece of vellum in here as a little tip-in and add more photos. All right, so now you're like, Lael, where's your list going to go? Right, which is a little bit of a problem, isn't it? And my title, over here, I've got to kind of now figure that out because I did not left a lot of room for that, have I? Let's look and see. Those are frames. Those won't work. Fun. Friends. We might have a few things that we can use from that. We won't use that one. There's some hearts and stars. Maybe, I don't know, I might put a few hearts on there. Let's look. Those cherries. I am in love with those little cherries. I can't wait to do something with those. I don't know what it is, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out when I get there. I always love the butterfly pack. I do so many fun, well, they're fun. I do so many things with those fun butterflies. Little flowers. Okay, all of these guys I may end up doing. Let's look. Word strip stickers, labels, more word strip stickers, the little stitches, those are clear stickers. Aha. So these are like smaller versions of what I was looking at here. The Story of Us die cuts. These are the Hug Me clear word stickers. So you see a lot of the same ones, but they're just smaller, and these are clear instead of die cuts. So we'll put that there. Happy moments, sweet friendship, endless laughs. There were lots of those things. Happy moments, endless laughs, sweet friendship, kindred spirits, right? Kindred spirits. Oh, golly. All right. So this, like I said, I did not spend much time at all. I knew photos. I knew I wanted to use this collection, but didn't spend a lot of time at all on what I was going to use. So now is when you see Lael like brainstorm on the fly. Okay, look at this. What if we do this? So this little guy, this is from the kindness journaling cards. All right, the kindness journaling cards. So I think this is what we're going to do. I can see there are two. Oh my gosh, look at this thing. Check this out. Like seriously, just seeing all of this now. Look how fun. Those are like, that says friend, but it's die cut out of that. If you do like Project Life or you do pocket page scrapbooking, that's a 3x4 card. That would be really fun in just one of your 3x4 pockets. Well, you know what friend looks like, but no, poke the D out. Isn't that? Oh, I love that. Okay. I get sidetracked easily, don't I? It's like, look, a like squirrel, right? Oh. Shiny objects, but they're not shiny. No. I think we're looking for another one of those guys. Yeah, there we go. There's a pink one. And it looks like there's also, ooh, look at orange one, yellow one. So there's all kinds of things I could do now. A couple different things I could do with these. Since there are so many of these, if I wanted, I could do waterfalling dog doors. All right. These are waterfalling dog doors. Basically, I would adhere them, not there, but I could adhere them like one on top of each other. Actually, they'd be like this. Like that. And then each of these would flip up. And I could do my list on there, talk about maybe one of the things on my list is friends, and one of the things is product or shopping or workshops or whatever. And so I could write about that there, and then they would flip up and I could put photos there. But that's not what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do this and then do another one on the back side. Let's see color-wise. Nope. I feel like I'd like the blue here, and then the pink can go there. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these two together. Sometimes you don't have to have a plan, right? All I knew, my only plan for this was, I'm going to use this collection and I'm going to use these photos. And then I just kind of wing it from there, right? We kind of just take a look at the product, and a lot of times it's just what speaks to you. Sometimes I know exactly what I'm going to do. Sometimes I don't have a clue. And usually it ends up working out. All right. And that's just like you. Sometimes you go into a project with a plan and you know exactly what you want to do. And other times you literally have no clue. I am way behind in the chat, so hold on. Let me see. Oh, aha. So I'm seeing all kinds of suggestions that you guys had now. So somebody said, hey, you could cut off, our senior adventure said you could cut off half the hearts and use it on the other page. So I could have done this, I think what she's saying, take that and use it over here. Sometimes you don't have to have a whole piece of paper there, right? I could have just put these photos directly down on the page and then maybe had a little accent along the side. I love it when you guys give suggestions. Sometimes it's definitely a group think here, right? Let's see. Let's see. That's funny. Karen said, often what we know is from a profile pic that's Insta-worthy, right? When you don't really recognize people when you see them in real life. Hopefully you guys recognize me when you see me in real life, because I think you've seen them. Well, I'm not going to see all of me, but you've seen a lot of me over the years, right? Let's see. Gigi, I love that. Must support other business. That's what I should have said to Nick. Nick, I'm supporting the other business. And Luisa's right, though. It really is vendors supporting each other because, you know, we're all in the same boat. All in the same boat. All right, let me see. I've missed all kinds of things here. So I'm just going to do this. Oh, not so much. Let's see. Oh, that's right. Flora. Okay, Flora, now I can recognize your little tiny picture. I have a photo of you from class. Yes, you were a helper in one of my workshops. Thank you. I'm glad you said that because now I'm putting your face with your name. Terry. Terry, yes. I had, Terry brought some very cute things that she made for our little Squirrel Squad meetup and then gifted me with an amazing little traveler's notebook, a mini traveler's notebook, charm. And let's see. Lily and Denise work for me. Denise crafts, Lily does not. Lily fell in love with this little traveler's notebook charm. And said, "Where did you get that? I want to get one of those." And I said, "Oh, I gotta go." And then I ordered one for Lily and one for Denise. Yes. And Terry, you owe me an email, my friend. You need to charge me for those. Otherwise, it's Terry's gift to them, and that was not the plan. Anyhow, yes, I just gave them to them this morning, and they were so excited. Lily gave me a big hug. So yeah. All right. So what I'm doing here, this is tip-in tape. All right. Tip-in tape is a matte, clear PET tape or PET tape. Some people call it PET. Some people call it PET, polyethyl, blah, 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 blah. Big long word that we don't need to know what it really is. But anyhow, it is clear matte tape. What's nice about it, when you want to do a tip in, and that's what I'm about to do here, I'm going to tip something in. When you are working in, for example, a traveler's notebook, you can't necessarily easily add more pages, right? But you can by tipping things in. So this is a tip in. I want to tip it into the center. I am going to do that with this clear tape. What's magic about this clear tape? It is not perforated. It is split. So I just peeled off the backer, but I only peeled off half the backer. That's sticky. That is not. So I'm going to apply the sticky to that piece. And then I'm going to peel back the backer on this guy. And, oh, I just did that the wrong way. I want to do it this way. So bear with me for a minute. There we go. Okay, there. And now I'm going to tip this in right here in the center using that clear tape. So you won't even see it. Now, you can, although I just also made that too low. Third time's the charm here, my friends. There we go. You can do this with washi. But the problem is with washi, you're going to see the washi there. It's not necessarily a huge problem, but you're going to see the washi. So it's partially going to cover up whatever you are trying to tip in. Something like this, not a huge deal. But if, say, it's a photo, now you're covering up part of the photo because you can tip anything in. Postcards, photos, whatever you want to do. And I just was not thinking about what I was doing here. Sometimes when I'm trying to talk and work at the same time, it doesn't work so well. All right, there we go. So now I have tipped that in. The other thing about washi, even if you have a decorative washi that goes really well here, problem with washi is not necessarily meant to have a lot of movement with it, right? Washi works really well when it's flat and it stays flat. But when you're doing something like this, washi is not necessarily meant to do that because it doesn't want to hold as well. So that's where tip and tape is kind of really a magical product. And I think Amy she did. Of course she did. Thank you, Amy. She popped that link in the chat if you want to see more about that. Zen Girls, how do you get your pic in your name bubble? It's somehow what you do in your setup in YouTube. I don't remember. It's been a while. All right, let's see what we might do here. I mean, there's some fun things here we could do. Endless, no, okay. Before I do that, I need to do my, okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. I think I need to do my title here. Now, in hindsight, I should have stamped on here before I did that, but that's okay. It'll be fine. Let's look at, I think I will do Little Craft Fest there. Oh, although actually I'm going to do Little Craft Fest anyway. Even though that says Little Craft Fest, I'm going to stamp it there. I'm going to use Murphy Alpha. One of the design team members, Susanna Lee, did the coolest project the other day using Murphy Alpha. She did a Mel Robbins quote in her Traveler's Notebook, and she stamped out the entire quote. What was so cool about it, though, she did black, but she mixed her solids in the words mixed in with the outline. It looked really cool. So if you want it, really with any of my products, especially the stamps and the dies, that my mail by mail products, if you ever want to see examples of how those products are used, go to the website, click on the product, and you will see the product images, but then you will see example projects using those products as well to kind of give you some ideas. So what I have to now think about is I still have, so I need a title, which can go here, but I still need to write my favorite things about Little Craft Fest. And I kind of have not, actually, this will work. I will just make, my list will be, you know, I'll just have this run on and it will fill in that entire area. So what I need to go right there is I need to say favorites. So there is, oh my gosh, I haven't used this stamp in forever. The favorite stamp set. So let me pull that out. You guys, we're working on the fly. We're totally designing on the fly here. I mean, most of the time I'm doing that, but this one's a really design on the fly, where I'm like thinking it up as I go. My original thought was that I would use the in the box stamps for my journaling, right? For my list. So I was going to do, which I could still do, but it would end up covering up, like I'd stamp that on white cardstock, then use the die to cut it out, and then write my little things there. But I think if I did that, that's way too kind of similar to this side. So won't do in the box. But what I will do is I have the favorite stamp set, which is basically, this was one of my very first stamp sets I did, you guys. We've come a long way. We have come a long way. That's like, isn't that like a Virginia Slims commercial from back in the day? You've come a long way, baby. I don't know the things that I remember. I don't know how. So it's basically just a whole bunch of different favorite words, favorites. So what I want to do is I would like to do maybe favorite there. Now there were some little label stickers, but let's look. I'm just not going to use a label sticker. I am just going to stamp right there in black. So let's grab our black. I'll tell you guys right now, we will be doing 2 lists tonight. We will not get to the third, I have a feeling. So the third list that we do not get to, we will hold, and that will be our first list for Saturday. All right, there we go. There's my black. That is, all the ink I use is Distress Oxide with the exception of black. That, in my humble opinion, is hands down the best black ink there is out there. It is also a pigment-based ink. And it is it's just really awesome, good, strong coverage, which I really like in my stamping. So let's get this out. Let's get this, my stamp. We'll just do our little test on this. We'll just test this little guy. And I always test, always, 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 always. Ooh, what did I do there? I think it wasn't flat. There we go. See how it got a little, like in a vortex there or something. All right, now, here's the other thing I'm going to do. Because it is going to stamp across that, and I'm like, ooh, not quite sure what that will look like. I pulled this out last night when I was, when we were doing the June Traveler's Notebook setup. When I'm not sure if I'm going to like the way something is going to look, really, the only way I'm going to tell is to stamp it there. But I don't want to stamp it there because if I don't like the way it looks, then guess what? Oh, well, I already did it. I pull out my little transparent sticky notes. So transparent sticky note, like when I put it down there, you can't even see it. It looks like I stamped on my surface, which is why why that comes in handy, because then I can put it on top of my project and see what it would actually look like. And you see, I just keep using a whole sheet until there's no more room. So I am going to take, don't be scared, don't be thinking I'm stamping directly on my work surface here, because you can't see that sticky note. Now it's going to move around a little bit because this is a slick surface, so you can see it's kind of all little bit blurry. But now I can put that right there and say, am I going to like that? I don't know. Maybe not, right? Maybe I'm not really going to like that. I would write something a little under that. Favorite things from Little Craft Fest. Favorite things about Little Craft Fest. I just don't know if I like it. I'm good to do it. You know what? Life's too short. Let's just do it and move on, right? Let's just do it and move on. But we do need our pencil board in there again. And we do want a little clip here. Okay. Re-ink. Woo, that was almost disaster. Okay, stop. What I did when I flipped that, of course, I just had my fingernails done today. So I have black ink now on the tips. So let's clean those off very quickly. Oh, please. We interrupt this regularly scheduled program for this important message. When you get ink on your fingers, stop what you're doing immediately and clean them off, or you will end up with ink on your project in a place that you probably don't want it. Okay, there we go. There we go. Shelly, I love that. Shelly said, I need to get that stamp set. Hubby and I are always telling each other, you're my favorite. Oh, I love that. That's so sweet. You're my favorite. No, you're my favorite. All right, let's do that again. All right. And we're going to put that right here. All right, so I'm not going to rock it, but I am going to press nice and firmly. There we go. Favorite. And then I will use my black ink over here too for my title. Favorite. Now I'm going to say things about Little Craft Fest underneath. But you know what I maybe could do? Remember I was thinking about the labels? What if label die cuts? Those are too big, but there were stickers. Where are the stickers? Here we go. What if, now we're cooking with gas. What if we take one of these and we put it right there, and I write very small things about, I could do things about LCF. And then over here, it will say Little Craft Fest. All right, so we do that. What color do we want to bring in? I think we better bring this one in. Let's do this one. Oh, here's another thing. If you are writing on a label, much easier to write on the label when it's still on the sticker sheet as opposed to write on the label when it's over here, right? Favorite, this one. Things about LCF. And then you can see I had a little bit too much room, so I just make the F extend out a little bit more. All right, let's put this down with, and then I'll put a little heart there or something just to fill in the rest of that space. Oops, not quite even. My reverse grip tweezers, or if you use tweezers, this for me is, you rarely see me use a sticker without it because lets you kind of just hold on to it while still looking. Very easy to place with that. All right, so don't worry. We've got a little bit of extra space there. We'll figure something out. We'll put a little heart sticker there or something. Favorite things about LCF, Little Craft Fest. So then, right now I have to do this because this is already going to drive me crazy. I have to go in and do my little outline here. All right, there we go. Favorite things about Little Craft Fest. I need a bullet stamp. And we will might as well use a heart, right? We've got the heart things happening here. So, okay, I just saw the little heart there, but I can't use those for bullets, but you know what I could do? These are the little alpha stickers, the little squares, but she started doing something different. Look at, in a pack, you have 2 colors. So if I use one of these, I can get my little heart from there. There are more of these. Yellow or more. Ooh, how about this? I'm going to go to the multicolored set. So this is from the daffodil and white set of those little letters. And the daffodil set, look at, has that teal. That would fit right there, and it would look like I stamped it there because it's white, has a little white background. Oopsie. Especially your reverse grip tweezers on something little tiny like that. Like, can you imagine my hand, my little fat fingers trying to hold on to that and then even be able to see where I'm placing it? And because they're reverse grip, you have to, if you want them to open, you've got to squeeze them to open so they work opposite of regular. So really easy to play with, work with. There we go, look it. And literally no one else but us knows that that wasn't stamped there. That's a little sticker. It like is perfect there. Favorite things about Little Craft Vest. All right, so now I do need a little, ooh, okay, hold on. Let's clean this off. You don't want to leave your stamps out with ink on them like that because you know what happens. You inadvertently set something on top of it and then it gets all inky. Like your hand. Good idea to put the things away right away. So let's do that. Put this back here. Put this guy on there. This guy on there. Different sizes, different fonts. I know. I apologize. Anyone that is in a country other than the United States. If you spell favorite with a U, apologies, I know. I got lots of feedback on that when I introduced that stamp set. So, unfortunately, it's the American way of spelling favorite instead of the rest of the world. You know, we got to do our own thing here, right? Like with our measurements. We have inches and everyone else is on the metric system. Got to do it different, I guess. All right. Oh, yes, a bullet stamp. See, now my mind has stopping working, right? All right, so bullets and more. This was also one of my very first stamp sets I did. This is like the OG. This is bullets and more. Very first bullet stamp set that I did. There are now 3 bullets and more stamp sets. Bullets and more 2, bullets and more 3. I use probably, if you said, Lael, what's the product that you use most often on your list? I would say it's a bullet stamp. It is a bullet stamp. So there happens to be a little heart. I'm going to use a little heart on the stamping stylus. So this is one of my stamping blocks. Remember when I said I think you should right size your stamp to your stamping block? You want your stamping block to be as small as it can to work with your stamp. Well, those bullet stamps are little tiny things. Look how teeny tiny that is, right? I mean, even if you have a little 1/2 inch stamping block, it's still really too big and it's hard to handle a little 1/2 inch circle like that. That's where this product, the stamping stylus, is like a lifesaver when it comes to your little teeny tiny stamps. The reason it works so well is because it is something your hand is used to working with, right? Your little pen or pencil, very similar in circumference and length. So really easy for you to work with that. I am going to find that color, I think. I think that would be fun. Oh, or, I don't know, maybe that's saltwater taffy. Let's look. What do we want to use here? Decisions. I'm going to close my blinds now. Just so all the neighbors aren't watching me. I mean, I don't care if they do, but... All right, let's look at our ink colors here, our swatched inks. All of my, you guys see me use this every time I'm stamping because it's much easier for me to pull out my swatches than it is to, no, not quite right. I mean, I don't know, maybe. That might be fun. find the ink color I want, then go start pulling out all of my inks to find the ink color that I want. And that's using my Swatch This Inks stamp set. Abandoned Coral. It is it's a time investment to do all of this for all of your inks, but I tell you what, it saves you so much time down the road. All right, one thing about the stamping stylus, if your stamp has a direction to it, so obviously the heart has a direction. If I stamp it one way, it looks like a heart. If I stamp it another way, it looks like, I don't know, a heart on its side or an upside down heart, right? So ideally, when I am stamping, I want to make sure that I'm always stamping that heart in the same direction, or my bullets end up looking a little scawampus like that, right? It's a little bit difficult to see because you have this big long stamping block and you're trying to see what the stamp looks like on the end to make sure it's in the same orientation every time. That is when the little sticker on your stamping stylus comes into play, all right? If you orient your stamp to that sticker where our little Scatter the Squirrel is, you can see when you're stamping where that sticker is. So you're just paying attention to where the sticker is, and as long as you've oriented your stamp in relation to the sticker, then your stamp will be in the same orientation every time. All right? So what I mean by all of that is this. There's my little heart. And it's a little skinwampus because guess what? I didn't pay attention. I didn't pay attention to where it was. That's okay. That's all right. Favorite things about Little Craft Fest. Let's see. Bringing Nick along with me so he could help, not can, could help and experience my world up close. That was kind of a cool thing. All right, so now those of you who are like, Lil, how's this even going to work? Like you have this little tiny area over here. How are you going to make your list? Well, there you go, right? So I'm just kind of doing my little journaling in there, and it's all going to come together because that is kind of tying in with this. My little craft vest that I stamp over here will tie in with that. It'll be black. And then I'm kind of filling in all of this space with the black. At least that's what I'm telling myself. That's why it works, right? All right, here we go, the next one. Meeting so many wonderful ladies, ... AKA squirrels, right? After feeling like I've known them for years. All right. So I have not, I mean, I know in my head what I want to say, but I have not written any of this down. So that's just me thinking off the top of my head and writing it down. If that scares the pants out of you, if that scares the crap out of you, I was going to say, or scares the pants off of you, you don't have to on the fly. You can write it down ahead of time so that you know what you want to say. Or you're not worried about running out of room, or you're not worried about kind of messing up. If that kind of makes you nervous, then write it down ahead of time. It's okay. All right. Now I've just totally lost my train of thought. Spending time with Amy and Heather. Heather is Amy's daughter that lives in Houston, Amy and Heather, and Rhonda and Joni. I couldn't have done it without them. And you know what? We spent a lot of time together. They helped set up the booth. We went to dinner together every night. They helped tear down the booth. So it was really fun. I mean, I spent a lot of time with Amy. Little bit of time with Heather, but not really. But then definitely have never really spent any time with Amy's friends, Rhonda and Joni. So that was really fun. That was a lot of fun. Sharing my Leo by mail products and seeing light bulbs go off. What I mean by that is some of the things we do are really different, like all of this creative listing. And so I had my sample, a bunch of sample traveler's notebooks and lists and different junk journal traveler notebooks and things like that. So it was kind of fun when people would stop at the booth and then start looking and then kind of look and then walk around the booth and look and then look. And then you kind of just see this like light bulb moments where they're like, oh my gosh, I think I could do this. I think this would be really fun. So I love like seeing that light bulb go off with people. And then I think I don't know. Shopping other booths. That's always, I'm just a shopper. And you put me in a stationary environment like that, and oh my gosh, such a shopper, loved that. And then I think my last one is teaching 2 workshops and sharing the tea and love. TN, Traveler's Notebook, sharing the tea and love. All right. So those are some of my favorite things about Little Craft Fest. All right. So next up, let's see. We have my title over here. So this is what I'm thinking. I love what Susanna did. Oh, stop. No, let me do this. I need to clean that off. When you are cleaning off your little bullet stamps from your stamping stylus, be very gentle, because my tendency is to do this and really push hard. Well, when you do that, whee, off goes your bullet stamp flying in the air, and you may never find it again. So just be gentle when you do that. I speak from experience. That's why I have either 2 or 3 bullets and more stamp sets in here, because over the years, I'll do that and one just flies away, and then 18 hours later I remember, and then it's long gone. All right. So move this out of the way. Now let's look. Before we do anything, we kind of need to get a feel for whether or not those things will fit. Like, can I fit that? Can I fit little? Little's my longest word, obviously. So I'm just going to pull this out. I don't know if Tabitha's still here. Tabitha taught me this little trick. Usually what I do is I'll pull up all my letters when I'm spelling like this. And I used to pull them off and set them down on my work surface, and then I would lose them. And so she said, oh, she typed up in the chat, oh, guess what I do? I like to use that is a like clear acrylic like frame from the dollar store, right? And so that's like its little stand or holder. Now I need to get the outlines out too. So LITT. Who is Nick talking to? Like he's on a business call, which seems just odd at 8:48 at night. I don't know. Sometimes if you're in sales, that's just what happens, right? Okay, so let's look. He's on the phone with Delta. That's what he's doing. I can hear now. I need to change my flight, and I want to go from here to here. And okay, that will work. That will like fit perfectly, and we'll kind of make it little skiwampus. All right, so let's see. That is solid. That one's solid. That one's outline. That one's solid. And then we'll have another solid, and then we'll have another outline. All right, let's do it. Now, when I am stamping a word like that, there's two ways that you can do that. You can put all your letters on one stamping block and stamp it once, or you can stamp them individually. As I mentioned when I was doing the About Last Month stamp set, or About Last Month, my list, I like to stamp them individually. I stamp them individually because I get to control how close those letters are. All right, so I just need to figure out where to start here, because we'll have, I mean, really, if I put them on the same stamping block, I could kind of spell it all, the whole thing all at once, but I'm not going to do that. L, C, Before I do that, I need to add something along this part. I'd like to add something there because I think it's going to be really plain. So let's look. Oh yeah, these are way too big. Those are banners. Too big. All right, I'm looking for some little die cuts. I know I have a bunch here, so let's look. Something in here. I don't know. Those cherries were calling my name before, remember? Let's see. Yes, I will be missing an L, Wendy. That's because I already have an L there. So I will do it and then I'll add that L when I get there. But thank you, because yeah, I wouldn't put it past me to forget that. Stamp chamois. The stamp chamois is, Beth, it is on my website. So Amy, if you will pop that into the chat. The salt cellar. The salt cellar, that is linked in the description box of the video. That's what I put the stamp chamois in when I am working with it. It keeps that stamp chamois moist, all right? We want it to, I mean, if I'm doing this for like 3 or 4 hours at a time, I don't want that to dry out. And if it's just like in a little dish on my table, it will dry out in that much time just because of the air. So you can put it in a baggie, you could put it in a Tupperware or something like that, but I just do that salt cellar. And those are from Amazon, but that's linked in the description box of the video. All right, let's look. Well, sometimes I get very into what I'm doing and then I completely forget that you guys are here. There's a whole chat going on. Liz, the nail polish color, that's, believe it or not, that is one of the biggest questions I get. Not, where do I find a stamp chamois? What's this? What's that? It's what nail polish color? It is gel. It is by a company, DND, like David, Nacho David. I know it's not Nacho, I don't know. DND, and the number is 601, and it is called Ballet Pink, I believe. I don't know, cherry. Oh, I need the cherry. The cherry is so cute. We're doing the cherry. I'd like a whole pack of cherries. That, Liz, is, I've worn this color, oh my gosh, I bet a good 10 years. I change it once a year. I change it during December. I wear red in December. And then the whole rest of the time, it is just that. All right, so there, that just kind of gave it a cute little, whoopsie, a cute little thing. Got so sidetracked there. Now I just need to go back to where am I, like just pretend. Little Craft Fest. All right, so if I start right here, we'll start right there. Okay. Now, some of you might be like, holy cow, woman, like you are spending way too much time on this. And I say, you know what? Go away. No, I don't really say that. In my head, I say, yeah, you know what? It is a lot of time. But guess what? It is, I'm playing, I'm having fun. And when I am doing that, it really doesn't matter how much time it takes, right? If someone plays golf, I do say that, but I'm like, you know what? You're enjoying golf. If you want to spend a whole day golfing, knock yourself out. Not something I want to do. But we all have our different things that we like to do. And if it takes me an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours to make a list, then I'm okay. Because I'm documenting a story that I think is important to tell, but I'm also, I am also having fun while I'm doing it, right? If stamping isn't your thing and you're like, okay, Lil, that's going to take way too much time for you to do all that stamping, then I'd say, you know what? Letter stickers are awesome. Oh, you know what? I didn't test that ahead of time either, did I? Didn't follow my own rules. Letter stickers are awesome, right? There's room for all the things. Letter stickers are awesome in that they take a lot less time, right? But for the money, I think your stamps are a better investment. Now I use both, right? I for sure use both. But stamps are a better investment if you take care of them. They will last forever. And you will never run out of letters. Hopefully, the only way you'd run out of a letter is if you lost a stamp. So hopefully you're never running out of letters. And you can pretty much make any color that you need, depending on ink colors that you have. When it comes to these little outlined versions of the stamps, this is when I said before, you want to test first. You want to get a feel for how much pressure that you need to apply. You don't, and I purposefully made that a little skimwampus, okay? You don't need to apply a lot of pressure on that outline. If you do, no, I really like over exaggerated. But do you see that one, light pressure? That one I pressed down way too hard, and it's not bad. That's not the look I'm going for. So if you test first, those are all the kind of things that you can figure out before you figure it out on your project. Let's see. Why a T and not an F? I'm spelling Little Craft Fest, Kristen, but that scared me for a minute because sometimes I have been known to, when I talk and I'm trying to spell at the same time, sometimes that can be a disaster, right? Because I end up stamping something that I'm talking about. So that's why. Little Little Craft Fest. Nancy said, crafting listing all day is great. It is, right? Liz, do I have a video or list of things on your blog that you bring to document your travels? So, Liz, I have been traveling and documenting my travels for years, Little. And it is only within the last 3 years that I've really changed up what I do. I'm the one that would bring the kitchen sink, right? I have a very difficult time narrowing down what I want to bring. So I bring a lot. Some of your trips you can bring a lot. Some of your trips you can't bring a lot. I, for years, would get hung up on, well, shoot, how do I know how much room I need to save for photos? Or on this day, do I need 2 pages or I need 5 pages? So when I was trying to document my travels on the road, I started to get a little frustrated because I would bring too much stuff. I'd get paralyzed by what I was doing because I was trying to document the entire trip, photos, memorabilia, everything on the trip. So that changed a couple years ago when my husband and I went to Europe for 18 days. We spent 2 days in Amsterdam, a week in Ireland, and a week in Scotland. And we both took a backpack and a carry-on. Well, I tell you, there's nothing like preventing you from bringing a kitchen sink with you when you only have so much room for all of your clothing. So I could bring very little. On that trip, I brought a traveler's notebook insert that I had pre-laid out, information for each day. I had done all my stamping ahead of time. I took that and a pen, my pen with me. That is all I took. When I got there, I found a little pack of colored pencils, kind of like this, but a little pack of colored pencils, and that's what I had room for. If I could find stickers on the way, I put them in the book. I put them in my traveler's notebook. I wasn't worried about where I was going to put photos. I wasn't worried about where I was going to put memorabilia. All I was worried about was capturing the facts and the details from the trip. So that's what I took with me. So I don't really have a blog post about what I bring because that's all I brought. I did the exact same thing when Nick and I were in the Oregon coast last week. I could have brought more with me, but I didn't because I didn't want to spend the time on that trip. I didn't want to spend time documenting the entire trip because I wanted to spend the time living the trip. The other thing I find is sometimes when, and this is just me, I'm just giving you my, my personal experience. Sometimes you have grandiose plans about documenting every day on your trip. By the end of the day, you're so tired, you don't want to get your little mini photo printer out, and you don't want to get you don't want to get out all your memorabilia and print your photos and decide what you want to document and add your, die cuts and all that. And I've done it both ways. I really have done it both ways over the years.
Short walk. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll step.
Okay. I really have done it both ways over the years. And I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong way, but for me, I've learned that I always way overestimate what I think I'm going to want to do on a trip. So if I set myself up for success by telling myself it's pre-stamped ahead of time for each day. Uh-oh. Guess what I did? Guess what? That is A. That is an A, but that is really not an A. That is a backwards A. Because guess what? I wasn't paying attention. My A should have looked like that, not that. So guess what? I'm going to start over. No, I'm not going to start over. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. If that really bothered me, I could probably take one of these and I could stamp the A the right way, and then I could put it over that, glue it over that. Or, you know what I could do? I could go, oops. Oops, I just wrote oops in there, right? Right, it makes it fun and whimsical. So maybe the next letter I should do sideways. No, I won't do that. But, here's the thing. Life's too short. Life's too short to get all worked up over something like that. It's art, right? That's how I always joke. That's how we know it's not AI. Although, if it had something coming out of its head, if it had an arm coming out of its head, that's how we would know it was not AI. I mean, it was AI. Right, Little Craft Fest. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I can't believe I did that. I'm not sure what letter that is. Like a cutoff P. Little Craft Fest. Anyhow, yeah, just sharing with you my experience. And in that Document Your Travels e-course, the whole intro talks about the different ways over the years, going back like 12 years. How I have documented my travels. I think the very first example I have is when I taught in Australia. So I think that's like 2004 or something, 20 years, long time, where I kind of got a mini book prepped before I left and tried to do all the documenting while I was gone and did not succeed. Little Craft Fest. F. Let's do a solid F. But anyhow, yeah, I think the whole point is to just document, right? Document. Doesn't matter how you do it. Doesn't matter when you do it. It could be 10 years later, but that's where I found if I just captured all those details while I was on the trip, then it really wouldn't matter when I documented. I guess we should make the A the right way this time, huh? Oh my gosh, why am I having such a hard time with that A? Here we go. Oh my gosh, stop, Leo. Oh my gosh. Did you see what I almost did? Why was I getting ready to stamp an A? Holy cow. Yikes. Yikes. Shelly, I did used to work with Scenic Route and Basic Gray. Yes, I sure did. That was a long time ago. Scenic Route. 2005 is when I started there. And then stopped in 2008 because Little Craft Fest. Oh, I know why I did that, because it's that way. Whatever. We'll do the E. We'll do the outline B. I have to think. When it gets late like this, I'm like, I gotta think. Okay. Yes, worked for Simple Stories. Scenic Route, 2005 to 2008. 2008. A lot of us remember what happened in 2008, where the market crashed, right? and independent scrapbook stores did not fare so well. And because independent scrapbook stores did not fare so well, then independent or small scrapbooking companies also did not fare so well. So some scenic route went out of business then. And I went to work for Basic Gray. I worked for Basic Gray for a year, decided that was not the place for me, and then I went back into software for a number of years. And then we need our solid tea. Then left software and went to work for Simple Stories. Worked for Simple Stories for 6 years, and then turned my side hustle into a full-time thing. And really, that's when my Lail by Mail business really started. So I've been around the block a few times. I've been in the industry for a long time. Long time. Little Craft Fest. All right, there we go. Little Craft Fest with my backwards A. But it's cute, right? It's whimsical. It's cute. It works. All right. So definitely takes more time when you are stamping a title, but it's fun. It's fun. Let's put our lid back on this right away. We do not want that to be off. All right, my friends, you East Coasters. Are you hanging in there? Because it is late for the East Coasters. It is, oh my gosh, 11:05 East Coast. Probably crickets in the chat. Crickets. And then West Coasters, you're like, yeah, it's only 8, Lail. And then our friends in Australia and New Zealand are like, oh my gosh, it's the afternoon. Yeah, it's only 1 o'clock, Lail. Okay, so space, right? Big space right there. What do we need? When we have a space and it looks like something's missing, what do? We put in a word strip sticker. Now, this is a little definition. This could be fun. Happiness. Feeling joy or pleasure, the condition of being happy. Well, I think I like that. Or, ooh, there's also favorite. Let's see what we have here. These are clear stickers, so it'll be kind of a word strip sticker, but kind of not. Favorite. Favorite is too large. Happiness, I think, will work perfectly. Let's see. It will just look like I typed it on there. Ooh, whoopsie. Both of those are coming off. All right, we're just about done here, friends. Oopsie, come on, Lail. All right, okay, so I already know I do not need all that extra on the end, so let's just cut that off. Reggie is still asleep in his bucket. He will be asleep in his bucket until I stop. But what's funny is, well, he knows because I stopped talking. And then he's like, stretches and he's like, okay, I'm up. You're done. I'm up. Let's go party. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I think that's going to be fun. There we go. Happiness. Noun, feeling joy or pleasure, the condition of being happy. There's a lot going on this little list here, my friends. Okay, so I need to do something here. I won't do it tonight, but probably what I'll do, I may just do a little bit of writing about what Little Craft Fest is and kind of some more thoughts about Little Craft Fest. I think that's probably what I'll do there. If I didn't want to do that, I could certainly add a little photo there or do a little bit more decorating or something like that. So there we are. My stupid A, that's all right. I do need to date this. So I think what I'll just do, I'll just do this. I'm going to put 2025 here because this was Little Craft Fest 2025. Over here, I am going to put 6/25. So I'm doing a list in June of 2025. But then that's Little Craft Fest 25 because next year will be Little Craft Fest 2026. All right, so there we have it, friends. That was our second list. Those were 2 pretty lengthy lists. I mean, lengthy meaning there was a lot. There's a lot of detail involved in both of those lists, right? So lots going on. But there you have it. It is done and ready to roll. Let's do this. Let me turn on the overhead light. If you missed it earlier, we were planning 3 lists tonight, but it is now 9 p.m. Lail time, Mountain Time, and I think best for all of us if we call it a night because who knows what the next one would turn out to be, right? Who knows? No, it would be fine. I'm not worried, but I think I am ready to, to be done this evening. So the list that we did not get to tonight was, hold on, rotating, spinning. The list we did not get to tonight is, oh yes, things turning 25 in 2025, right? We will start out with that list on Saturday. Saturday will be the 7th of June. So this coming Saturday, we will be listing again. Watch for, oh my gosh, I just got Charlie horse in my toes. I just took off my little flip-flops and kind of curled my toes. Charlie horse in my toes. Ooh, that is not good. That doesn't feel good. Yes, anyhow, so watch for, email will go out Thursday or Friday. I send it Thursday, but my email system decides to throttle how those are sent out. So that will go out Thursday. The blog post is always there Thursday. The YouTube is always there Thursday, so you'll have all the information you need. One of our 3 lists. Oh, here, I can tell you what the other lists are. So the first list we'll do is things turning 25 in 2025. We will do another travel themed list, but you don't have to travel for this one. It is, I've got to figure out how I want to word it, the title, but basically if you were traveling the world and you could only take a backpack, what would be in that backpack? So you're really limited on what you can take. And you know what? You don't have to say underwear. It's okay. You could say you want to bring granola bars. You could say you want to bring all of your craft things, whatever it is, but I thought that might be kind of fun. I do know that we are using, well, I just know that. That's all I have there. So those are 2 of our lists. And again, you don't have to be a traveler to do that list. It could still be, if you were traveling the world and could only take a backpack, what would you put in it? And things turning 25 in 2025. And I didn't know what was turning 25 in 2025. Although there is one thing I know. Sam Konkar is turning 25 in 2025. He was born in the year 2000. So that's easy. He's the first on my list. But anything else, I didn't know. I didn't have a clue. So I Googled it. And there are lots of things that turn 25 in 2025. But that's where you can look at those list of things if you want to participate in that list. Look at that list and find the things that have meaning to you. There are all kinds of things on that list. I will tell you. People turning 25 in 2025, other than my son, no clue. All those people are too young. I have no clue who they are. Lots of famous people, but I looked at that list and I'm like, I have no clue who those people are, so they're not going to be on my list. Things like toys and movies and songs, lots of fun things like that. So those are the kinds of things that will be on my list when we do that on Saturday. Things turning 25 in 2025. And it could be things turning 40 in 2025, whatever you want it to be. All right, friends, so there we go. That was fun. That was that second list. I had no idea what that was going to look like. So, but sometimes that's fun. Sometimes it's better to do it that way, where you're kind of just thinking on the fly. Sometimes you go in with the plan. Other times you don't go in with the plan at all. Sometimes what you make turns out great. Sometimes what you make, you're like, meh, but it's still okay because you had fun doing it. And that is what it's all about, right? Which is always what I have fun doing with you guys. I mean, I always have fun. There's never been a time that I didn't have fun playing with you guys. So thank you. Thank you for joining me. I hope you can catch me. I hope you can join us on Saturday. We will be listing this month in June, the 7th, the 14th, and the 28th. Nick and I are going to hop in our RV, take a long weekend on the 21st, kind of in that weekend of June. So we won't be listing that weekend, but 7th, 14th, and 28th. Later this month, I will put out the listing schedule for the next 3 months. So July, August, September. Generally, I put out the schedule 3 months at a time. So you can start kind of planning if you are joining us for any listing beyond that. There is still another giveaway. We did one live giveaway. There is a giveaway that will take place the after party. Once this video is over, leave a comment on the video between now and Saturday morning. Saturday morning before we start listing, I will draw one random lucky winner to win. How about the Murphy Alpha? That's the Alpha that I used for Little Craft Fest. Let's do the Murphy Alpha. So you just leave a comment on the video when it's over. And if you want to tell me something, you can tell me something. Like maybe just tell me something. If you tell me what you did tell me one thing that you did in May. So if you were doing an about last month list, what would be something on your list for May? Maybe you just finished watching the series finale of Handmaid's Tale. That could be on your list. Maybe you made a yummy cake. Maybe you bought yourself flowers. Maybe you read a great book, right? Doesn't matter what it is. But tell me in the comments, once we're done, not in the chat, in the comments, what would be something on your list that you did in the month of May, even if you didn't list with us. I have to write this down so I remember. Murphy Alpha. And then I totally forgot who won. Flora. I just remembered that. Flora won the Say It. All right, my friends. Thank you. Enjoy your evening. Do you want to see Reggie? You want to see him again? You can see how he's still sleeping away in his little bucket. I'm going to do this, though. I'm just going to take this off. So we're going to go for a ride here. I mean, it's going to bounce around quite a bit. Let's see. Did it still work? It did. There he is. Look at him. Cute Reggie. Sleep. He's just totally sleeping there. Can you still see it? I don't know. I might have lost you. Oh, I did. I lost you. Oh, I lost you. I lost you. Oh, sorry. I lost you. Hold on. Oh, no. Here we are. We're still here. There he is. Hi, Reg. Hello, buddy. Say hi. Say hi to all the peoples. He's a good kitty. I know, right? Yeah, I think we're good. I think you can see him now. Oh, there. I don't know what I'm doing. We're just going for a ride. So, cute Reggie. Yep. Unless it's 3 a.m, and then he's bugging me. So, all right, my friends, good night, good evening, and have a good night. I hopefully will see you. That's his bucket. Yep, his little bucket. Hopefully, I will see you guys on Saturday. Bye.